This is the Inkpulp podcast. This is the Inkpulp podcast. Comics, hip hop, life. Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast. Welcome back, and welcome to the new viewers who are here for this monumental episode, which I'll get to in a second. I just finished my meditation, and I feel really centered now. And it just, like when I don't meditate, it's when things seem to not work out in life. And when I'm meditating regularly, more positivity, more blessings come my way. And I think that all has to do with frequencies and energies in the universe. And when you meditate, you raise your frequency. And when your frequency's higher, you attract like frequencies. And things go well. And when you go down, you attract like frequencies. And things don't go well. And it might just be perception. That could be part of it too. And meditating certainly helps you see a more optimistic outlook on things instead of a pessimistic. And so today's meditation, I listened to guided meditation, was about boredom. And we're just living in this crazy time where we are inundated with stimulus. Everything we do, we need stimulus for. I just think about my day. I wake up to have a peaceful cup of coffee in the morning by myself before anyone's awake. And what do? I got the TV on with the news, which is never relaxing. I got my phone in my hand. And I'm already just pounding myself with stimulus. And it continues throughout the day. I mean, you're at the gym, you got music in your ear, you're in bed at night, you got a laptop in your lap, you got a TV on in the background, you got a phone wherever you go. It's just this constant stimulus. And it's no wonder we're such an anxious mess right now. I think we need to turn some shit off for reals. Anyways, just some thoughts. So today, I called it a monumental podcast, and here's why. If you've been listening to this podcast from day one, you know I always end it on a question, because this is what I was doing exclusively, pretty much comic book creators, and it was hip-hop, punk rock, or metal. Or, if not one, how many of those three and why? Because I found that most of us comic book artists tend to have a love for one, if not more than one of those three. And a good chunk of us really gravitated towards hip-hop. And then, not long ago, the Far Side approached me about hosting my podcast on their network. So naturally, I freaked out. I lost my mind. I was excited. It was awesome. And shortly after, talking to Brown, he said, I have a friend who'd like to come on your show. He's an artist, and he's a hip-hop artist. Maybe you heard of him. His name's CHALI Tuna. Of course I've heard of CHALI Tuna. I listened to J5 when Quality Control first dropped. I love the Dino 5 collaboration. I was listening to Ozomatli back in the day. I remember all this stuff. And I knew he was a graffiti artist of sorts. But what I didn't know is he's a full-blown badass artist. So having him on the podcast is like the next evolution of what I've been doing. Now I have a hip-hop artist on who's also an artist. And also had my co-host at times, my good friend, my badass artist buddy, Jim Mahfood. And this was a great show. This was just a fucking blast of a show. Excuse me. Everything I ever wanted this podcast to be is in this episode. So I felt great. But Charlie kind of blew my mind at one point. And it's when he started talking about America as the purveyors of art and culture for the world. That's an interesting thought. But it just got me thinking as we talked further, and he talked about the UK a lot, it just got me thinking with what's going on in this country now with COVID-19, with all the racism that's so apparent, and all the ignorance that's so ingrained, all the selfishness, all the entitlement. I mean, I think about some of these people who complain that their liberties are being infringed upon because they have to wear a fucking mask to protect other people. Your liberties are being infringed upon. You need to take some history lessons. But I'm not going to rant about that. What I think is important here, and what we started talking about here, is when you leave, maybe I did talk about, I don't think I talked about this yet, maybe a little bit. So we lived in a world where, all right, let's go back before TV, back before radio, back before telephones. You lived in a little neighborhood, and that was your entire world. And rarely did you venture outside of it. So in that world, all those people were your bubble. And your ideals and your morals, all that were formed in this bubble. And it's kind of an ignorant way, if you think about it, to form. Because you don't have the knowledge of other cultures. You don't have the influence of outside ideas. In comes the phone. That little bubble expands a bit. In comes the television. Well, now you're in your bubble, but you're seeing other bubbles. And then comes the internet. And all of these little bubbles are forced to see, for the first time probably, all the bubbles. Some people became scared, and that fear fucks you up. Closed-mindedness fucks you up. Some see all these bubbles as an opportunity for personal growth, as an opportunity to understand life on a deeper level, as an opportunity to enrich yourselves with the influence of other ideas and other cultures. And that's how I am. And I think my point is, I think people need to get the fuck out of their bubble and get out there and travel. Go see the world. Make that a priority. I know people, when you say that, like, I can't afford that. Maybe don't, look, maybe don't buy that watch. You don't need a Rolex. You don't need a Lamborghini. What's more valuable? Go to fucking Italy. Go to Argentina. Go experience life outside of your bubble. For me, doing that has brought me much personal growth and much joy. Much more than anything material could bring. I think our priorities in America are backwards. And people just don't want to think about that. They don't want to change. They're just stuck in their ways. Part of it is the messages they're constantly being inundated with. And the thing is, we have the power. We have the control. We just don't know it. We're handing over control to them. And all we have to do is turn that shit off. But don't turn this off. Nah, this is here for good stuff. This is art and culture. This is expansive. This is everything I dream this podcast to be. It's fun. It's positive. We get down each drawing. Me and Jim, we're tackling the Dino 5, which if you don't know that project that Charlie Tuna was involved with, we're going to talk about that in depth on the show. I highly recommend it. If you have kids, this is a beautiful thing. The Dino 5 project. So, yeah, enjoy. This was a good one. We're going to get more and more of these going. Now that I've got the Far Side behind me, I'm going to have more opportunities to have guests like this. I'm super excited, y'all. So thank you. Thank you for listening. If you're on the Far Side Network checking this out, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for giving this a chance. I mean, like I said, this is hip-hop. And it's not always beats and rhymes. It's just life and how you live it. So that's what this is. If you are on the Far Side Network, please head over to my YouTube channel and subscribe over there as well. I want you to keep listening on that platform or whatever platform you're on. Just come on over to mine and hit subscribe. And if you want to re-listen, it's a good place to re-listen. It's YouTube. Just Google YouTube Inkpulp, Inkpulp. I'm working on getting a simple address, web address for my YouTube channel. It's a little bit of a song and dance, but I'm doing it. So when that happens, I'll blast that out. And please follow me at Inkpulp on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. Yes, this old man's got himself a TikTok. I'm posting. I'm not doing great on it, but I'm there, and I'm trying to learn how to use that platform better because I just want to get my shit out there. I'm a fully independent funded artist, and I just want to reach people. And then my Facebook page, which is should be up by the time this is out too. So all my platforms, like, subscribe, comment, do, and enjoy this episode of the Inkpulp podcast. Peace.
Where is my split? Is that cool?
Yes, of course. I was going to ask if we're getting down today.
Yeah, man. I was like, oh, we got to do it what time? Because I thought it was going to be at 1:30. Like we get to it at what time? I was like, oh, that's my split time. It's going down.
All right, cool. Yeah. Do you know what you're smoking today? Like which strand you got there?
Yes, I got some Fire OG.
Okay.
And some Anxiety OG, all mixed together.
Oh shit! So you're doing indica in midday?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm from the school where trees is trees, man. You know what I mean? And at this particular point, right, it hasn't manifested itself in my day-to-day personal life. That's something that slows me down. My wife,
right.
But as far as working and stuff is concerned, I'm probably in this room or directly outside of this room in the corner or outside. I got another art setup outside of my backyard. That's a massive easel that I use to do spray paint. You know what I'm saying? Nice. So like I'll drill plywood to it, and I could do like these 8-foot by 6 feet paintings, and you know what I'm saying? It's fun to do that.
Oh,
just to keep
dude,
that skill going.
I am itching to do some big work again.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna hit my little pen here. I got some mint cookies. A little sativa does me right before I draw.
That's right.
So we were saying before we hit record, I was admitting like an idiot that I didn't realize, Charlie, you were painting. You were doing art. Your stuff is awesome, man. Like when. Have you drawn your whole life, I'm assuming?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for even liking that shit, man.
It's awesome, dude.
Oh, man, you're a great artist. I love seeing your stuff.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that for real, man. Like, seriously, it's like really dope to be able to finally get people to see me as a visual artist. Now, that being said, and the reason why I say that is because I don't know life without drawing or creating some kind of image of some sort. Like that was the way my mom would like babysit me or stuff. She was like wild and you know, I was born when she was 20, so she was still like wilding out, in the third, and so she would sit me in front of the TV with my cousins and a bunch of construction paper and markers and pens and crayons and things like that. And like, y'all do what y'all got to do. And I guess out of 5 cousins, I'm sitting there, I was the best one out of doing it. But the art thing ran through my family. My grandmother's brother was an amazing painter and actor. My mother's brother was an amazing painter, musician, and poet. My mother's sister is a artist, and she don't know it. I used to ask her to help me with projects and homework, and be like, "Auntie, draw a wolf or something like that." Here, boy, and I'd be like, "Whoa!" You know what I'm saying? Because she could really do it. You know. Right. Nowadays, in the next generation, my little cousin Todd, his name is Richard Ingram. You should check him out. Born Rich. He's amazing. I got nieces that like just show the skill, and I'm just like, dude, this just really runs through our family. And I'm just talking about that's all on my mom's side. My father's side, my grandfather was a hell of an artist. He could do portraits. My father was good, but he stopped. He turned it into carpentry and stuff. He helped me build this room and all of these things. I got a couple of other cousins that I didn't really grow up with, but I heard they were amazing painters. And I only seen like, there's 3 of them, but I've only seen one of them's work. But I heard all 3 of them are amazing, and I can contest to one of them for sure. But yeah, wow. So it was always in my family. And with hip-hop was really totally introduced to me through graffiti. So just one of those things, man. It's always been that. And because it was a graffiti thing, I looked at it like Robin Hood, like a silent assassin. Like nobody needs to know,
right,
that I was the dude that murdered that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jim and I mean, Jim, I don't want to speak for you, but we kind of came up the same way. I mean, graffiti was my shit when I was like 13. And I was bombing I remember I hit the pool right by my house one day, just in broad daylight, like a dumb kid.
Hey, man.
But it was all part of it. I mean, graffiti and comics, I got introduced to graffiti before comics, actually, but not you, Jim. You were comics first, right?
I was a comics kid, and then discovering hip-hop led me to graffiti. You know, it was like seeing Beat Street and seeing...
Beat Street, that was it.
And seeing the mix of like, oh, there's a visual part of this culture, this whole thing. Like, okay, I get it. I can get it down with it.
I felt that seeing Ramo made me like, oh, I can be in the hip hop scene.
Yeah, man. I'm more like Jim though. It was art first, right? And you know, being especially on the south side of Chicago, and there's like house music around the time when I was born.
Oh yeah.
That's what ran. You know, and then as hip hop started to seep in little by little. I don't know how old you guys are, but especially which one of y'all the Midwest? You, Sean, you the Midwestern?
No, I'm in Atlanta. I just turned 48 last week.
Okay, so we in the same realm of
right.
age. So you know, you guys remember that TV show called That's Incredible?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so with me, what happened was I was like always like drawing, doing sketches, you know, even as a kid, keeping myself aligned with all of them gangbangers on the south side of Chicago, but not having to join because I was like entertaining them by doing things like this. Like, hey, shorty, I want a tattoo. I heard you could draw. Like, yeah, give me a pen. I'll draw it on your arm, and then you go take it to your tattoo. Like, word? Okay, cool. Pull up their stuff, and I'm like drawing like whatever they asked me to do. And then next time I see them, they'll have a tattoo to their arm. I'm like, that's cool. Yeah. And I would get, you know, in favor with these dudes because of it. So if I got into something, you know, and they saw it, I ain't had no problem, which was cool.
Right.
I was a cool thing.
Yeah, but, art kept me out of some shit too. I mean, just being an artist, you could run with so many different types of people and get in. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was like doing that and just, you know, drawing, just poster boards and just keeping myself busy, man, because like I said, my mom was the one who had us using that as a babysitter, so to speak. So that habit just stayed with me. And then a dude from the Bronx, his name was Dave. moved to my neighborhood. And I want to say like 80 maybe, like 80, 81. No, it might have been, yeah, my brother was born in 81. So I'm thinking it was 79, 80. Because I remember like Rapper's Delight had, you know, saturated and everything, and it was all crazy. And people was like, what is this stuff? It was all novelty, you know, for us who are outside of New York, right? And I'm in Chicago, you know. I knew about Farley. I didn't know about Flash. Put it that way. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Yeah. So when Dave moved, Dave was like 3 or 4 years older than me, and when he moved to my neighborhood, he's like 2 apartments down from my house. And you know, he used to just always brag about New York and this and the third. But what was crazy is he moved from New York because of his building being burned down in the Bronx. And it was like, I didn't put it together till years later that it was because of the Fort Apache, all of the little scandal slumlords and all that stuff that created hip hop, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? His family was going through that. And I was like tripping like that. So anyway, he had all these photo albums of trains, buildings in New York. The train had all these graffitis. And I was like, damn, how they do that? You know, because it was like tags on Chicago subway, stuff like that. But wasn't nobody bold enough to get out there and just do a whole car and just bug out, you know what I mean? So I'm like, what they do that with? Like, dude, that's spray paint, that's graffiti, blah, blah. He was explaining the culture to me, and I was like intrigued, like, damn, you can do that shit with spray paint? You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, you think that's cool? In the Bronx, gangs, man, stopped fighting, and they started like dancing against each other. I was like, I'm in Chicago once again. Get the fuck out of here, gangs. Whatever.
Yeah.
So here's where That's Incredible coming. One night I go in the house. Fran Tarkington is like, next on That's Incredible. Gangs who settle their differences by dancing. I was like,
God.
Sat down. I watched that whole program and I was like, holy shit. Ran straight down to Dave's apartment. Knockers go, hey, is Dave home? Dave was like, what's up, man? I was like, yo, I just seen this program. Man, kill me more. And from that moment, I was like, I want to know about what that shit is, because I didn't really, you know, I was a youngster. I didn't get into the whole, I liked the music, but I didn't get into the house culture. I was
Right.
young, so but I liked the music. But the culture of hip hop intrigued the shit out of me. And the graffiti part was first. That's what pulled me. You know.
All right, awesome. I want to tap into, in a little bit, I want to get into how you jumped from graffiti to then rapping yourself. But before we do that, I just want to change the cameras over and talk about what we're going to be working on. So, and I want to talk about this project too. This project is very near and dear to my heart, the Dino 5, which we'll get into later. But I'm doing a piece dealing with the Dino 5. Jim, you are too.
Yes.
Charlie, you are too, right?
I guess so, man. I don't know. I didn't know exactly what I could just.
You do whatever you want to do. I'm just curious. All right. So what I'm going to do is switch my camera to my art table.
I'm going to do that.
So I got my T-Rex going.
Oh, that looks sick. So you got some magic happening.
Yeah.
You got it going on. Look at that.
Thank you. Let me switch my mic. All right. Can you all hear me okay now?
Yep.
Yeah. Should I do the same thing?
Sure. Whatever you want to do, man. I just want to draw and chat. Whatever you feel like. This was such a near and dear project to me, to have T-Rex on my podcast. I had to do a T-Rex.
I appreciate that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to flip it around.
All right, you do you.
But yeah, y'all can keep talking to me though.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So I guess what I want to know is, if you were getting into graffiti, when and how did you make the jump to rapping?
Okay, well, graffiti for me, like I said, was the beginning, right? but the and the rap thing just kind of came along with it. Around that same time, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, hip hop had already started doing its thing with Rapper's Delight and all the little songs that was coming out of Sugar Hill and, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. But I didn't really key it all together like it was like one culture until I saw that episode of That's Incredible. That's Incredible. And then because of that, I'm sorry, yeah, that's taking a second to get this camera right, but I'll get
That's fine.
Oh, take your time, man.
Okay. But because of that, you know, I was like, damn, so okay, it's what do you call it? It's DJing. MCing, which is like rapping. Oh, okay, cool, I get that. Graffiti for sure. Right? Then I started to understand that graffiti didn't necessarily belong to hip hop. It just was an integral part of helping it form, therefore became an element. Right? And then you had other things, you know, like the b-boying, you know what I'm saying, the things of that nature. Right? So then you had other little small things like beatboxing and all that stuff that was showing itself. And that was cool. But I was like just so immersed in the graffiti part of it that I didn't know if how do you flip it around? Okay, there you go. I didn't know if I wanted to do anything else but that. But like I said, my uncle was a poet, so I used to try to emulate a lot of the things that he did as a kid, and poetry was definitely one of them. And so you know, I was like, okay, so rapping ain't nothing but poetry. This and that. Right that time, like Renegades of Funk came out and Perfect Beat, and you know what I'm saying, all those different things was out, and I was just like, yo, this is just crazy. Now I kind of know what it was. Beat Street and all that shit was starting to come out. All that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Crush Groove and Breaking and all that, and I'm just understanding like now it's regions. Now I'm understanding what it is. So I'm like, okay, let me try my hand at the rest of it and see what happens. You know.
Okay.
So the first thing I tried was DJing because my father knew some people who had some turntables and stuff like that. So he bought me some turntables, you know, some cheap belt drive turntable kind of things. You know what I'm saying? And I was just trying I tried my hand, and I was cool. I just couldn't scratch. I wasn't good at that at all. Like I could not get down when it came to like I know if I put it into practice, but I didn't. I wasn't patient about that.
Right. It just wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. Then there was a lot of dudes in my neighborhood that started breakdancing and stuff, and I just was watching them at first, and then I started to slowly want to learn how to do it because I could dance, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, all right, I can do this, you know what I mean? Let me put on my glasses real quick. So, it was these two dudes, one named Dale and one named Eric. They called him Lil E. And they were the ones who picked up the whole rap thing at first, like rhyming, you know what I'm saying? But it was kind of like, what do you call it? Roasting, like improv, like I'm talking about you, that kind of rap.
Nice.
So, you know, which was cool because it was entertaining to everybody that was around, especially, you know what I'm saying, these little kids, I mean, these little dudes, they was teenagers or what have you when we were still like older teenagers creeping into their 20s where we were still like 13 and 14, you know, 11s, 12s and shit like that, right?
Right.
So they clap, they got us clapping our hands. Well, they got this crowd clapping their hands up under our building and all that stuff. And they busting rhymes and talking stuff about it. All right, so there's this girl that I liked. Her name was Tasha. And I was like, man.
It always goes back to a girl.
Of course, you know what I'm saying? That they say wars are fought and empires are built and destroyed over women.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
This chick, I loved her, right? I loved this girl, but I was so scared to talk to her. I was young, you know what I'm saying? And everybody used to tease me about the fact that I was scared to talk to her and all that other stuff. So, it's so crazy to even relive this stuff. So she and her sister was downstairs under my building, and they was chilling. And they was listening to him rap, Dale and Eric rap. This is the third clown. I come downstairs, and I see them looking. I mean, I see them, participating and laughing and giggling and just watching and being, spectators or whatever. And so I just kind of casually sneak in there. Once again, I'm like a little nerdy, skinny dude. I'm kind of tall, a lot more taller than my age is and stuff. So people, mistook me for being older than I was, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He directs his attention towards me and I walk
in. Oh, no.
Now I'm feeling like the herd because my girl, the girl of my dreams, is standing there looking at me, laughing with them about the jokes that he's saying about me and how, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, wait. So I was so embarrassed, man, that he the laughs got louder and louder as people recognized that I was embarrassed and blah, blah, blah. I ran. I'm out. I'm out of here. I can't take this anymore. So I'm out, right? Go upstairs. I'm hurt. I can't stand Eric. And then why they do me like that in front of Tasha, man? This ain't even cool, man. Why they do me like that? Blah, 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 blah. So I didn't know what to do. I grabbed a couple of pieces of paper just to write down how I felt. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, as I'm writing it down, I'm like, you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to write a rap. So I started writing a rap about them and about how much I didn't like them and about how they clowned me. And I tried to do what they did to me on paper. But it started to come out cool. I was like, man, it'd be dope if I could remember this. And the next time I see them, just smash them up. And that's exactly what I did. So
shit.
I memorized it, and I got that chance 2 weeks later. It was doing the same thing under my building. I was like, all right. So instead of trying to blend in to be incognito, I put myself in the line of fire.
Right.
And they went in. And this time, instead of being visibly crushed by what they were saying, I was like, that's funny, man. Let me try. Oh, shorty, you can't rap. I was like, let me try. All right, cool. So everybody start clapping their hands. Now, mind you, I got 2 pages full of emotion in my mind.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I let loose. And the whole crowd was like, after each line was like, oh, and I got the fever from there. That's why I got oh damn, I need to do this some more kind of from there.
Right.
So I secretly started writing raps from there, like this, if ever I got the chance and it was a cipher, I'd like to sneak up and just be like, I could do that. Give me a turn. And people be like, damn, I was always trying to get that kind of response directly after.
Oh,
that
shit.
particular situation. You know what I mean? So that's what really, truly got me into rap. It's a lot of other different things that I could actually say that added to that, but that's what truly got me into
a girl.
A girl. Yeah. Of course. Being embarrassed in front of a girl.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So, Charlie, were you in a hip hop group in Chicago before you moved to LA? Like, everyone obviously knows you with Jurassic 5. Did you start in Chicago with a group, and also when did you move to LA?
I moved to LA for the first time. I moved to LA with the intention to stay in 1985. Summer of '85. Okay. But what happened was they was having problems shipping my transcripts from my school out there, so I missed a lot. I missed 2 months of school, and I was kind of going back and forth with just being angry about that and missing my little sister and brother. And I was staying out there with my aunt and my little cousin. So I was like, I might as well just go back home, man. You know what I'm saying? And so my auntie was like, you'll be happier if you go back home. I was like, yep. She was like, okay, cool. So she sent me back home. And we didn't move back out to LA until a year and a half, maybe 2 years later.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So 86, 87 was the real official. You know what I'm saying? And when I was at home, I wasn't in a rap clique. I was in a graffiti clique, and I was in a breakdance clique. You know what I'm saying? The breakdance crew is called Animation Crew, and we battled a whole bunch of dudes from different projects around the way. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how how it was always going down. It was that
What did you say the name of
battle.
the crew was? The animation crew?
Yeah, the animation crew.
Nice.
And we was battling. Like, so we was from South Commons, which was from 31st Street to 2605, 20. Yeah, from 31st to 26th Street between King Drive and State. So that's like South Common Complex. And inside that is Dunbar High School. So I lived there for around those times when hip hop hit.
That's awesome.
Crazy, man. To go around there now, man, it looks crazy. It looks the same but different. You know what I mean? But
Right.
But yeah, so you know, those are some of my crazy hip hop stories. Where were we at, man? What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Oh, just wondering if you started off in a group in Chicago.
Oh yeah, I wasn't in a rap group though. No, it was a animation crew. Was the pop lock / breakdance crew, and I was affiliated with a grad crew through a guy named Curly Joe and a guy named Karate J. A group called All City Writers.
Nice.
I was trying to get into that group. I was really trying to get into the graffiti vibe in the shop. There's a lot of dudes that was from New York, a lot of Puerto Rican cats that was from New York that was like beast in Chicago, and I didn't even know they existed. You know what I mean?
Right. So in LA, did you, I assume you were in a whole bunch of different bands growing up and then landed in the Jurassic 5?
To be perfectly honest, I was only in one other band before Jurassic 5, and that's called the Unity Committee, right?
Oh, shit.
And that consisted of myself, which was Cut Chemist. Myself, Cut Chemist, and Mark 7. Those three was the Unity Committee. And we formed at Cut Chemist's house. He had equipment. He had, the liberal mom and father who would let us come through and be up all hours of the night recording at their house and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Awesome.
And so that's where we kind of started at with that. Man, you know what, man? Let me see. I'm looking to see if this is the book. I had started something in here already. I continue that. Have no excuse now. But anyway, so we were this group that came up in Silver Lake, and we would do backyard parties. You know what I'm saying? Participated in hip hop events anywhere we could. Mark 7 was from Patterson, New Jersey. I being from Chicago. Cut Chemist is from Hollywood, California. So it was real cool to be able to like have all of these diverse perspectives and really start participating in hip hop and writing and being serious about it around the time that, let's say, Rakim and Public Enemy came out. Right around that time. Give me 1 second. We keep talking. Let's just run to the rest. But yeah, right around that time is when, we started our group and being really serious about being our group. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we was doing like demos, writing songs and stuff, and doing that at Cut Chemist's house. And one of our friends, Mr. Mark 7, was asked to accompany one of our good friends, Saint Mark. He was also in a rap group called Darkly. He had asked Mark to come down to this open mic spot that he heard about called The Good Life. So we was like, all right, cool. He was like, I'll go with you. So it was on a Thursday night. And we were supposed to meet up at Cut's house the next Friday. I mean, that next day. So we met up with Cut that next day, and all they had to talk about was that Good Life experience. Like, yo, man, we need to go there. We need to perform. We need to kill it. This shit it's imperative that we do this and blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't understand. That shit was amazing.
What year is this, cool. Charlie? Like, what year is this you're talking about?
This was 1990. This was the summer of 1990.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So we said, all right, cool. So we ended up writing a song with Darkley called Shoes, like, you know, the shoes that you put on, right? But it was about how women, how, you know, our perspective of how we could try to kind of predict how a woman was, her personality by the shoes that she wore. You know, it was just some old crap. It was our attempt, I guess, at a posse cut that was kind of like Buddy from De La Soul, kind of like that.
Of course, Buddy.
Yeah, so we was kind of like going for that kind of perspective, and it was cool. We wrote the shit. It was us, me, and Mark Seven was the two MCs in Unity Committee, and then it was Saint Mark, this dude named Hymnal, and this dude named Jay Smooth. Right, I think it was one other person that was on that song. Shoot, oh, this guy named Wolf. We all, so it was 6 of us, and we all did a verse on this tune. Tried to craft it together nice, and then we brought it to the Good Life, and we did it, and everybody thought we was one big crew. Everybody enjoyed the song, tripped out. We got instant respect, and was instantly accepted into the Good Life family. You know what I'm saying? And we would come after that every Thursday. Every song that we wrote was all strictly for the Good Life, no matter what.
That's amazing. And the Good Life. That's a tough crowd to win over, right? I mean, that was like hip hop purists back in the day, West Coast style.
Yeah, man. It was definitely hip hop purists, but the trick of it was, the reason why it exists like that is because it was around the time when NWA and gangster rap started gaining momentum within the hip hop, you know what I'm saying, scene, this and the third. And I noticed that you couldn't get a record deal unless you were, you know, soaked, saturated, or actually participated in the whole gangster movement. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there was a lot of us in LA, especially, who didn't do that and who didn't want to do that because they didn't want to be affiliated with that because they grew up with that. You know what I'm saying? Right. I witnessed it both in Chicago and in LA. So I definitely didn't want a part of it. And all of the dudes that I was around, we was all of like minds when it came to that. So we was like, you know, let's just be who we are and do the hip hop that we like. And we all, you know, I noticed we all like the more conscious stuff, from the native tongues to even taking it back, especially with all of the fellas who eventually will become Jurassic 5, even taking it back to cats like Cold Crush Brothers and Fantastic Five and all of those things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were hip hop purists at that level. Big nerds, man, who knew all of the words to all of the songs, and, you know what I'm saying, knew what the artists that we liked had on, and, you know what I'm saying, how old they were, all of those stuff. We was nerds like that. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And was just shocked to find out that there were more of us. The Good Life was full of them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was really like original styles. Everybody wanted to bring something new to the table. It was just a fresh time, and everybody wanted to be noticed. And everybody's agenda was, I'm just as good as these gangster dudes, man, but I'm not doing what they do. You know what I'm saying? So, but what was cool about the Good Life too was we didn't discriminate. So if it was some gangster dudes that came in there, all you had to do was be dope.
Right.
You could talk that gangster shit, but you just had to be dope. Case in point, Snoop came in there with a group called Perfection, because he was in 2 groups. He was in 213 and he was in a group called Perfection. So him, this Filipino DJ dude named T Love, and them 2 dudes who would later be in that crew called the Twin. You know, they were 2 twins.
Yeah.
They came down in the Good Life and set that shit off. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And it was some gangster shit, but it was, you know, and everybody at the Good Life respected it, like really respected it, because it was dope. There wasn't you couldn't run on it. You know what I'm saying? So that was the whole thing with us. It was like, it just had to be dope. And what was cool too was we had restrictions. You know, you couldn't curse. You have to just be as creative as possible with those guidelines.
Right.
That's what made a lot of the people that came out of there like exceptional performers.
Yeah, I always find that as an artist, having like limitation brings out the best. Forces you to
what you do with them parameters that make you the best artist. You know what I mean?
Right. So during this
like
whole time, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, like right now, I don't know what I'm drawing. I'm just drawing.
All right. Yeah.
So during this whole time, I assume you're still like drawing and stuff, but that's more for fun.
Yeah. No, see, at that time, I'm still like, painting, and I'm discovering different ways to do shit. But I'm also a father, so I'm chilling on the illegal aspect of shit. Because when I came to California, I instantly got down with as many graffiti artists and as many people who were participating in hip hop as possible. That was my mission. I was like, I'm moving to California. I seen that movie Breaking. First thing I want to do is find the Radiotron.
Right.
I touched down, and our first apartment, and the rest of our apartments for me growing up to being an adult was in Silver Lake, right? So I was like, okay, now pull out the Thomas Guide. I'm like, okay, let me put this all together through these movies and all that. The Radiotron is by a park with a couple of lakes in it. They showed an aerial view.
Right.
In Breaking. I was like, where is that? And somebody was like, that's MacArthur Park. I'm like, okay, cool. Now, started asking other dudes, man, where's the Radiotron? People gave me the address. I'm like, cool. Found out that it wasn't that far. It was a couple of bus rides from my crib. But me and a friend of mine ended up walking all the way from Silver Lake, all the way through to MacArthur Park.
Damn,
all the way to, because we were just walking through with can. We was graffiti writing.
Right.
Let's walk. Let's do it. Tagging every damn thing and doing, doing our talk. You know how that goes. But we finally made it to the Radiotron. I felt like a king. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't believe I did this. I don't believe I'm here. I'm from Chicago. I've seen this stuff in movies. I'm standing right here. This is where Boogaloo Shrimp did this. This is where Ice-T, when we got to the place, it was some graffiti writers painting a big ass mural on the outside of it. We learned in the end that these dudes were a notorious graph crew called K2S. They were called Kill to Succeed. Very famous crew in LA around that time, and they still are famous because a lot of the dudes ended up becoming big gallery artists.
Oh shit!
Charlie, who are the standout guys from that crew? I know the name of that crew, but like, was that okay?
Prime, Crime, my dude Guy Jeans, dude Skep. Them was the standouts. But Prime and Crime to me were the standouts because they was doing shit that nobody was doing, and they was like the hood kids, man. They was little essay dudes. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Right.
But they were tight.
Mm-hmm.
Like extremely tight. With the letter style, with the colors, all of that. And you couldn't really front. I would see a lot of East Coast people come out and paint. There was a place in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, fresh outside of Silver Lake, just past the Rampart District. It's called Belmont Tunnels. Used to be a old train tunnel, but for years it was abandoned, and for years it became a graffiti like super yard. And if you was anybody in LA, you wanted to get a piece up in there, and your pieces, no matter who you were, only lasted a maximum of about 2 weeks, max.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? Because this place was famous. It was like prime real estate. People would come from around the world who film videos in that spot and take pictures of the place. And Prime and Crime were from a gang that was around that area that basically protected that area.
Okay.
And so those two dudes were like the kings of that pit. When I first came out, me and my friend Jack Frost, we did a piece down there, and I did a unicorn, but I used no line. I just filled it in with all colors. I shaded all I put colors to all of the shades. And nobody was doing that kind of thing at the time.
Right.
And so my unicorn lasted, like I said, everything, the longest something would last was 2 weeks, people for the top kings down there. My unicorn lasted for a year and a half.
Oh, that's fucking dope.
Because everybody was like, yo, who did this? Who did this? And nobody knew my face. And that just comes from what we used to do at the crib, you know what I'm saying, which was Robin Hood, you know what I'm saying? We'd go out painting in ski masks, shit like that. So nobody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I ain't talking about what I did. I'm just taking pictures of it and then, you know, showing you, you know what I'm saying, if I need to show you. But I ain't really trying to show you because you don't need to know that I'm that artist. That was the code of graffiti, how I was taught to do graffiti.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying? Sure. So that because of that, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm so long-winded, man. But because of that,
that's what we want. We want the story.
That's what we're here for.
So because of that, man, I never used to broadcast. Is what I'm leading back to. That I was a visual artist more so than, you know what I'm saying, focus on the craft of rap and stuff like that, because that took off. I was on the path of trying to become some kind of commercial or graphic artist or something, man. Even something as a muralist, a sign painter, something. I was on the path of becoming that. But I got offers for a scholarship to go to Otis Parsons and all this shit, man. But I was like a hard head at the same time too. I was like, I wanted to go home. I had a child coming. I just was like, when I said, you know, I'm in California, but I wanted to go back to Chicago, but I had a child coming, and I was just like, damn, I gotta grow up. I gotta figure this out. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I can't go to college and be out here struggling and got a kid coming. I gotta go get some money. So I chose to work and stay out of, you know, of that realm until I got myself stable enough to go to college. But as I started to get myself stable, I was working with Cut Chemist and Mark 7, and we're going back to the good life. Met this group called the Rebels of Rhythm while going to the good life every Thursday night. These dudes were special. They were just different. While me and Mark 7 was Run DMC-ish, like trading lines back and forth real quick in this and the third, these dudes were harmonious. One of the dudes could really, really sing. And so the other two dudes' voices just blended in perfectly, and they sounded like the Cold Crush Brothers, stuff like that. It was like, woo, this is crazy, right? And so we was like, we should do a song one day together, and that was that. Cut Chemist took it to the extra step because they had heard another beat that we did. They came by our crib and hung out with us and heard these beats and was like, yo, Cut Chemist is sick. Hey, man, can you do a beat for us? And Cut was like, yeah, I'll do a beat for y'all, but you got to do me a favor. And they was like, what? It's like, y'all got to put my crew on this beat.
Oh,
that's like, okay, awesome. Cool. So they did their part on the song, and then Cut called me and Mark 7 over, and then we did our part of the song, and that song became the song Unified Revolution, right?
Okay.
We liked this song. Now, at that same time, the Unity Committee was trying to shop demos, and like all, you know, rap dudes was trying to do at that time, try to see if we can get signed. We shopping demos, and Rebels of Rhythm was shopping demos as well. And we all decided, we was like, okay, we're going to put this Unified Revolution on each person's demo. And if you get picked up, then we'll bring the other ones in, you know, like that kind of thing. So everybody was like, all right, cool, deal.
Nice.
But every time people like that Unified song more than they like our respective stuff. It was crazy, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, man, yeah.
So, you know, one of us was working, Dakir, he was working at Loud Records. He worked at Loud Records and he worked at Death Row Records, to be perfectly honest. He was around for a lot of things, right? Like, he was one of the reasons why Steve Rifkin was able to connect with Prodigy in order for him to sign Mobb Deep.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Or he was like, if you look at the Death Row autobiography book, there's a chapter. I think it's chapter 5. It's called Soup, which is not here. It's about some of the shit that he saw. You know what I mean? So it's just being around that stuff. It was cool for him to be able to, you know, while we got these demos, we all decided to just try to, like, you know, shop as much as we can, each other's demo as well as our own individuals, and just see what happens. He had these plugins because he would be around these people. So he got our demo to this dude who worked at TBT Records, right? And they had a subsidiary label called Blunt. So it's Blunt TBT. And who was signed at Blunt? Mike Geronimo.
Okay. Yeah.
All these different people. Like it was a group called the Cash Money Click, believe it or not.
Oh,
and
Yeah, I remember Blunt Records. I remember the logo too.
Yeah, and the Cash Money Click, one of the dudes in the Cash Money Click was Ja Rule, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that far back, right? And so he got our demo into the owner of Blunt TBT Records' hands somehow. And that dude really liked our record. And he called us and was like, y'all want to, we'd like to sign this 12-inch. Y'all got any more records? We was like, nah, not really, but we can make more. And they was like, well, look, we want to do this 12-inch like on some novelty shit, but we definitely would love to put this out for y'all. You know, it's kind of our first record deal. We was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So we was all hyped. Sue came back telling us, so I was like, yeah, that's dope. But shit, man, what, they want us as a group? Because we two different groups, right? And Soup's like, man, fuck all that dumb shit, man. Let's get this record deal. This is a record deal. Let's get this shit, right? So we was like, all right, cool. So we put it all together. I drew a flyer a while back with all of our faces, portraits of each one of our faces inside of stars, like the old school phase 2 hip hop flyer. Right?
Oh yeah, like the old Bambaataa, Jazzy J kind of style flyer. Yeah.
So we adopted that as the cover, the back cover of that 12-inch. The front cover, I drew this bone mic. This mic made of all kind of bones, right? And then I put Jurassic 5 under it in stone letters, right? Because we didn't have a name. They was like, okay, so before we put this out, what's the name of the group? So I went and I played the song to my son's mom. What'd you think? She was like, y'all think y'all sound like the Fantastic Five, but y'all sound more like the Jurassic 5. And I was like, ha ha ha! That's the name of the group.
That's awesome.
So I called the fellas, and they all agreed it would be called TBT. And the rest is basically history when it comes to that one.
Oh, that's fucking amazing.
I love it. Yeah, man, the name is what hooked me in right away. I heard the name before I heard the music when I was living in Arizona, 97 or so, or 98 when you guys did the first EP, whenever that came out. But someone was saying, you got to get hip to Jurassic 5. And I was like, well, I'm in just based off that name. Like,
that's dope.
If the music is great, I'm assuming it is, but you got me just off that name. Like that's an amazing.
That's really dope.
And it's like we were saying before, I think Sean started recording. I was in Arizona, mid to late 90s, hanging out with Z-Trip and the Bomb Shelter DJs, that whole scene. And I think Z-Trip was like the first guy to bring you guys out to Arizona. I'm assuming.
Yep, you're right.
And I got to go to those shows, and it's a magical time, man, for music and art back then.
Thank you,
yeah, for sure. So
you just start taking off,
Oh yeah.
And that's around the time you also met Freestyle Fellowship and those cats too?
No, well, Freestyle Fellowship and them were the kings of the good life. That's how I met them.
Okay, okay.
But one of the first times I've ever seen anybody do anything hip hop in LA, when I first came to LA, and I walked. I caught the bus down to Hollywood Boulevard, and I seen these two dudes rap battling, and they had a crowd. It was killing it. This tall, lanky, light-skinned, curly-haired dude was just like, like with his arms all folded, and this other dude was rapping his heart out, right? So I'm like, oh, dude is dope. He's killing it. Okay, cool. Let me watch this little rap battle, see what's going on, right? Dude finished his lines, and the little light-skinned Linky dude was like, you finished, man? It's my turn? Dude was like, yeah, go ahead. Like I already won, that kind of thing. Sure. This little light-skinned dude commenced to serving this dude, and one of the illest. I was like, wow, this little dude he wasn't little, he was tall, actually. Killing it, right? Years later, when I go to the Good Life, I see that same dude, but he got dreads now, and he's running with some other dudes, and they were called the Freestyle Fellowship. This dude, Mike Kanine is who I'm talking about. This dude.
Oh, okay.
One of the illest dudes I bet. He was called Microphone Mike when I met him in Hollywood all those years ago. And so when I first seen him at the Good Life, I walked up to him. I said, hey, man, did they used to call you Microphone Mike? He was like, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like, man, when I first moved to California, I saw you battle this dude on Hollywood Boulevard. He was like, what year was that? And I told him. He was like, I remember that battle. I was like, I didn't realize he was that, like, notorious out in California. But it was dope. It was really dope. I thought that was really dope.
That's awesome. Micah 9 is a legend, man. He's so
man. To put it mildly.
Oh yeah. And then when did what was the first Jurassic 5 release? Was that the EP?
That first song that I was telling you about was 94.
Okay, 94. Okay.
4 was the Unified Revolution. And then we got really serious because we was like, okay, we put the song out, but everybody was still working and doing they day-to-day thing, trying to take care of their family and their kids and stuff. And we got this opportunity. Was it 95 or 96? I can't remember what year it was. It was somewhere in between. It was before 97, right?
Right.
But I want to say it was like 95, 96. We had a friend. Her name was Tara Taylor, aka T-Love. She was in a group called Urban Props, but she was doing a solo album.
T-Love is amazing. I love her. Yeah, she's incredible.
She was doing a solo thing. And she had acquired a solo deal, kind of distribution deal with this distribution company called New Groove Alliance. And New Groove was giving her the option to have 2 EPs and two 12-inch singles, right? One for each EP. And she was like, damn, I only got 1 EP. She was like, you guys are fucking dope. She was like, what if we shared that? What if we created an entity? I give her super love for even coming up with this shit. What if we created an entity that was like a joint venture between 2 labels? I start a label, y'all start a label. And then we put out my EP and y'all EP. And we, single deal under this New Groove Alliance deal. We was like, oh shit, that's ill. We could do that. So we went through the process, business, the DBAs, all that stuff. Did all that stuff and then put out, we came up, our record label was called Rumble and hers was called Pickaninny, right? And so we was like Rumble Pickaninny Records presents, and we put out 2 EPs. Hers, it's called Return of the B Girl, if I'm not mistaken. And then, and ours was that EP with, the Jurassic 5 EP, basically.
Oh yeah.
Right. And we put that out through New Groove Alliance and it got a lot of love, but we didn't really realize how much love it was gonna get or why it got the love that it got. Because with the success of the Unified Revolution 12-inch, so I'm trying to lead up to this. We made 5 more songs so that whenever we do a show, we was like, we need more songs for a show. We need more songs together as a group for a show. So we created like 5 more tunes and a bunch of cool ass routines and shit to put together to make this show tight. And we wanted to record these songs, so we ended up recording these songs. We got the opportunity to go to I think we got the distribution deal first, but we got the opportunity in '97 to go to this festival in England called Fresh '97. So we all had to get passports and all of that stuff to go to this festival to perform. It was a hip hop festival, and it was like massively respected, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't know. We was just like, we going to England. I had never been to England before.
Right, that's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? So we was like, let's go. When we got out there, when it was our time to perform, we was doing all of the songs that we recorded for our EP. You know what I'm saying? Killing them. And we saved the Unified Revolution song for last, right? So we was doing our routines and doing that show that we put together. And everybody was loving the show. They was like, damn, these dudes is dope, blah, blah, blah. As soon as we did Unified Revolution, the crowd went stupid as if they knew the song. And we was tripping like, damn, they know this tune? Like, it's crazy. So what had happened was, I skipped over a lot of shit. I apologize, fellas, but
No.
Before we got that, the way that we got the record deal was that, like I said, Soup was working for Loud Records, and we had all put in some money and pressed up 500 copies of the Unified Revolution 12-inch before we had the name Jurassic 5. People was calling us Unified Revolution. And we was just trying to get the 12-inch to as many people as we could. We sold a couple, gave a couple to Fat Beats. I put a couple of them in Mace hands from De La Soul.
Oh, shit.
All these different people. We just was trying to get that record out as far as we possibly could, right? And then that's how that record reached the dude from TBT. That's how I got there. Okay, so we didn't know that our record had got overseas somehow. Swin Tech and them was treating it like an old school record that people didn't get. A lot of New York dudes was like, who is this, man? We hadn't heard this record before. This is a record? Like, who is this, man? We got to know, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody thought we was one of them old school groups, which was crazy. You know what I'm saying? We took that as super flattery because that's kind of what we were setting out to do, to like pay homage to the shit that we love. You know what I'm saying? But we wanted to do it right so that people didn't recognize, whether this was new or this was old. You know what I'm saying? Hence, how good the name Jurassic fit. You know what I'm saying? Bringing something old into the new, it just fit perfectly, right?
Yeah.
So our mission was to really embody that and try to use that to our advantage, especially against all of these new school dudes and all of the gangster rap stuff. We was like, we paying homage as well as returning favors. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what we try to do. So, when we got to England and we performed and we did all our new stuff and the routines and everything, and everybody loved it when we did Unified Revolution, the fucking crowd went stupid. And we was like, how did this happen? And it turns out that people had gotten a copy of the record that we put out, not the one that TBT put out. They got the copy of the one that we put out and bootlegged the shit out of it. And people had wax copies that they made, you know what I'm saying? And was coming up to us, getting those signed. We was tripping like, damn, dog, like, this shit is crazy. We got something on our hands here. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I went on a long ass tangent, man. Once again, I forgot even what the question was. But yeah, that's
no, man, no. I
We're
love
just
it.
enjoying the ride right now.
Yep.
So go ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, as a hip hop fan my whole life, one of the exciting things about Jurassic 5 was like when you guys first came out, I mean, radio hip hop had become so silly and cartoonish with like shiny suits and wannabe gangster stuff and guys dancing around, and it just became such a clown show that when Jurassic 5 came out, it was such a unique tribute and throwback to what hip hop, the culture, actually is.
Right.
That it was like a fucking breath of fresh air, man. Like as soon as I heard what you guys were doing, and then like a year later, it seemed like Dilated Peoples hit, and people under the stairs, and all these kind of like West Coast boom bap, I guess you might call it backpacker, but like just really good production, incredible rhyming, and something that it like went back to the roots of just this being interesting culture with depth to it, you know? And
Yeah.
so for me, man, I was so excited because I came up in the 80s discovering Run DMC and LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, Public Enemy. So for me, hip hop was always this dramatic statement of like rebellion
Yes.
and bombastic beats and production. So when hip hop went commercial and it got real silly, it was not for me, you know.
Yeah. A lot of people felt that same way.
I feel like you guys were a major part of the antidote to that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there, Jim. It was discovering that LA underground scene, which felt like, to me, it was like there was more art to what I was hearing over there. I'm using art because I can't think of another word for it. And then I was really digging deep into the New York underground, which was more visceral than what I guess the West Coast, I had that it was art, it was like intellectual, but the East Coast, the underground New York thing was more visceral. And I couldn't get enough of either one.
Right. Me neither, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we was like always paying respect to New York. I mean, it is what it is. And it was crazy because at the same time that the quote unquote backpack movement was born, and we was like really like going hard with it in LA, there was a movement that was going on in New York in Washington Square Park that birthed the same kind of MCs, man. But like you said, from a different perspective, from a New York or an East Coast perspective, that was slightly different, but yet at the same time, the exact same as what we was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, have the same
and
spirit.
We would cross paths from time to time. Yep, they had the same spirit. And we would cross paths from time to time. Like you had people like Fat Joe, who came down to Los Angeles and was promoting Flo Joe and, you know, was the top record at the time.
I love all that early
life.
Yeah, all the early DITC shit. Love that.
Yeah, he came his ass out of the good life and, you know, couldn't curb his cuss words. And
right.
And got booed.
Wait, Jim, wasn't that in the Netflix series when Fat Joe went out there?
That was in Hip Hop Evolution. Yeah.
He tried to clean that up, because if you look at Ava DuVernay's documentary, This Is the Life, and you'll see exactly what really happened. I was there. I saw it. So he tried, when he was talking on Hip Hop Evolution, you know, I would sit there, you know, I got all the respect in the world for Fat Joe, you know what I'm saying? But I would debate him to the max. I'm sitting right there. And he couldn't curb his tongue. We told him, no cursing. This is a place where we can't cuss. I know that's what you get down and do, but you're an MC too, so go and give it to him. He got up there, he couldn't not curse. That ain't really my style. He was like, please pass the mic. Please pass the mic. He was like, I sense jealousy in the air, peace. Like, man, jealousy? Dog, all we ask you to do is bust a rap. We respect you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was just crazy. So when I watched him on Hip Hop Evolution, I seen him try to clean that shit up, like he was like, oh, like, come on, dog. I was sitting right there.
Charlie, how did you feel about the Hip Hop Evolution series on Netflix?
I big up to Shad, man, first and foremost, for even being.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, of that, man. I really like that. And I love it for those people who may have never really embraced the historical aspects of hip hop. And I'm not saying he captured everything. Of course, you know, no thing out there can capture everything except for the actual life experiences. But it's cool to have that as like Cliff Notes, man. It's really dope. I thought it was really dope. Like I could play that for my grandma. I go, Grandma, look, check this out.
Right.
And then she could turn to me and go, what was you doing at that time? And I can explain to her. And it felt good to be able to do that. And I really think that they put that together really well because of that.
Yeah, there's that specific episode that is about the good life, and then the Lyricist Lounge in New York happening.
Raucous and all that,
sort of at the same time.
Big up the cats like Talib and Mos and all them dudes, man. All the same time.
Hell yeah.
Charlie, you were mentioning T-Love. She's,
Yeah.
I think, one of the best, most underrated female MCs. What happened with her?
I'm not exactly sure what. I don't know. I know T-Love was always like getting sour about the record industry. She was always like ahead of the curve and seeing what was going to happen. And she was always coming up with different things and stuff like that. So I think, if I had to take a guess, she probably got tired. Like, man, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I don't know. I haven't talked to her in a long time, so I really don't know. I know she has a baby now. I heard she lives in France.
Oh shit.
Okay. Yeah, I think her husband is in a band out there or something like that. I wanted to say he's one of the dudes in Herbalizer.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, man, I hadn't seen her in a long time, but I big her up to the max, man, because she is definitely instrumental in the choices that Jurassic 5 made when it came to becoming known in the world today.
That's awesome.
So let me ask. So how'd you get involved with Ozomatli?
Okay, so we're taking it back to when I was saying me and my friend Jack Frost. I first moved to California. Like I said, I was trying to align myself with as many graffiti artists as possible. I met a guy named Jack Frost. His real name is Matt Hall. He went to the school that I went to, and I met him because I noticed he rode the bus from my neighborhood. The school that I went to was in Hollywood at first, and I noticed that he rode the bus with me to school. I'm like, oh, he live in my neighborhood, right? So me and him started talking, and I realized that he was in my art class with me, and he could draw. He ended up being a hell of a graffiti artist, right? Like, like I could show you some color schemes that would not exist without him. Put it that way,
Shit.
right?
Nice.
So me and him, man, we just clicked. He was my dude, man, to the max. And he had a little stepbrother, man, named Willie. And Willie was a fucking pain in the ass when he was little, because he used to come up and visit with us. And his stepfather would always make his mother make him take Will with us wherever we went. And we was graph writers, man, so we was doing dangerous shit. We didn't want no young dude rolling with us, you know what I'm saying? We jumping over fences. We bombing, junior high schools and, tetherball courts and, tennis, handball courts and shit like that.
Right.
We do all kind of shit, man. We didn't want to, but we had to take little Willie with us, man. Little breakdance Willie is what he was called. Right? So to make this story short, breakdance Willie grew up to be Will Dog from Ozomatli.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And he, when he was forming Ozomatli, was always calling me, asking me to come and jam with them because they had learned the music to our song Unified Revolution. You should tell Jurassic to come down to jam, blah, blah. I was like, man, I don't even know y'all like I know y'all. They ain't gonna come down to jam. They hell is you talking about, man? And plus, whatever, man. Man, come on, Chuck, man, you should join the group, man. I'm like, how am I join the group? I'm in Jurassic 5. He'd be like, but he's like, man, fuck that, man. Cut Chemist is in the group, and Cut was always he was down with them, man, coming down and jamming with them and doing shows with them and all that. And I used to be like, damn, Cut, how you doing this shit? He's like, man, I'm gonna just do whatever I can. I adapted that from my man. That was a very cool outlook to take as a youngster. We was young,
Right.
Cut's younger than me. You know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, man, you're right. So I went down to one of their gigs one day in Hollywood, and they see me in the audience. They start playing that Unified Revolution, and I was working on a tune called Ghetto Diplomat at the time.
Mm.
So I had some verses. I spit them shits at the crowd. The song came about as if it came out and sounded like we had been working on that in the studio for, for long periods of time. And Will Dog was like, look, man, if your ass do not come and record that shit with us, then I'm gonna be seriously salty. Because one of the things that they used to do was they would record with a cassette. They would record the shows that they play, and then sell the recordings at the next show.
Oh, that was smart.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So they recorded that, and they was like, you know, you need to come and really record this. And I was like, fuck out of here, man. I don't even know what I did. They was like, don't matter what. It don't matter if you know or not. We got that shit on tape. I was like, all right, cool. So I listened to it, and I was like, damn, that shit came out dope. And then when they recorded they first little EP, they called me with this brother Robert Carranza, big up the Rob. They called me. I came down, I recorded it with him, and then I wrote some other songs with him, Super Bowl Sunday, and it was one other song I had wrote at that time with them. And, you know, started gigging with him. The rest kind of was history, man. I just started gigging with him a whole lot. But that was in the first, you know, year and a half that they existed.
Wow.
So basically, I'm one of the original members, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I'm taking a smoke break out.
No, do it,
Your
man.
thing, man.
Jim, let me see. Jim, talk. That T-Rex is looking crazy.
Oh, thanks.
It really is, man. I'm pissed. I'm sitting up here bullshitting. I'm just like drawing a little fish or whatever. Y'all going in. I look because at the angle I couldn't even see it until I looked up. I'm like, damn, they going in.
I haven't drawn dinosaurs in so long. Like, dinosaurs are fucking great. Dinosaurs are cool.
Dinosaurs are where I got started. When I was a little kid drawing dinosaurs, I had like a book. I knew all the different dinosaurs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think every boy goes through like a dinosaur phase.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely did, but it's just something that like I just forget how fun it is. Like they're fucking monsters. It's a monster.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
But this is fun, man.
Did you did one before that, Jim? I saw you did the Stegosaurus at the turntable.
I started doing the Stegosaurus DJ from Dino 5.
The Prince Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I was waiting for this to dry. It's fun. It's a little cartoony, and then I figured, you know what? Why not just do like a straight up just fucking evil T-Rex?
Yeah, that is a badass work, man. That is badass.
That's more my speed. That's more my speed. You know.
That's right. That's
Charlie, you see, I got Bunny in here. I got Bunny.
I see you, man. Shit look dope. I want a copy of that, man. Maybe take a picture of it and send it to me when we
I
done.
will. In fact, when we're done, I'm going to ask everyone to send me a high-res scan of whatever they created on here.
Okay.
And I'll embed that in the back of the podcast.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I'll definitely send this around for sure.
Charlie, I had a question. Back in the day when you were a kid, what comic books were you digging on?
Okay, so my father collected, man. My father was a Spider-Man dude out the gate.
Oh shit! Okay.
He loved Spider-Man, and so he had a lot of the dope Spider-Man books. My father was also an avid cigarette smoker, man, and fell asleep in the garage in this little cot. And fucking burned all his comic books, man.
Oh,
shit.
Yeah. So, you know, I call myself trying to recollect and stuff for him. And what was cool was like me and my grandma would go to the grocery stores on their payday or what have you. She had to come with her to help her carry the groceries back home. You know, we lived in a complex called Lawless Garden on 35th and Cottage, 35th and Rhodes, really. But what was the cross street right there? That's King Drive, and between King Drive and Cottage Grove on 35th, and it stretched from 35th to 37th, 39th, 35th to 39th, right? I can't remember. Anyway, it's called Lawless Garden. It's still there. If you got on the map, you'll see there's 3 white buildings and then a whole bunch of townhouses. We lived there. And across the street was a strip mall called Lake Meadows. My grandmother worked in the grocery store called Jules T. She worked there for 17 years. We used to go over there when she got her paycheck and go shopping. And I would help her bring shit home. And my reward was I could pick any comic book I wanted.
Oh, that's dope.
So, you know, I started with the Spider-Mans, but I fell in love with Wolverine. I fell in love with Wolverine. I was like, who is this fucking guy? This guy's dope. Because I stumbled upon the Hulk versus Wolverine. And this is before people regarded Wolverine as a hero. He was a fucking villain. And I was like, this dude's dope.
That was
like,
his origin, right?
Yeah, I was like, this dude tumbled with the Hulk. This dude is dope. You know what I'm saying? So it was that kind of thing for me. You know what I mean? And that led to my love for superhero teams, the Avengers and this and the third. And my father, you know what I'm saying, was definitely a black activist in a lot of ways growing up in the 60s and shit like that. So he was always definitely on shit like, you know what I'm saying, you need to know all the black superheroes. You know what I'm saying? If you look towards, you know, that kind of thing. So it was like Luke Cage, CHALI, and all of these people. I knew these people. You know what I'm saying? These was my, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Lieutenant, what's her name on Star Trek?
Uhura.
Yes.
Uhura. Yeah. I mean, just everybody, man. I had to know these people, and I got chastised for watching shit like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, right.
I used to be like, Pops, they cars the shit. He's like, fuck that car, fuck that flag. He used to, my pops used to be on that back in the day, that kind of shit. So I was really trying to, you know, like collect, you know, based on, you know, my interest that I picked up from my father, and plus just my own interest. So I would say all the superhero teams, from the Avengers and the Defenders, and, you know what I'm saying, any of the X-Men variations, but definitely the original X-Men and all that. That was my jam, and I just tried to follow everything that was connected to all of that, and all the heroes connected, and all the stories.
The Defenders, that's going deep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's it's crazy, man. I have like almost the exact same story where I used to go to the grocery store with my mom every Friday, help her with the groceries, and she would allow me to like pick out like one or two comic books.
Nice.
And it was,
man, you got the same kind of story, dude.
Yeah, it must be something in the water in the Midwest or something. But and my you know, comic of choice was always Spider-Man, because I grew up watching the Electric Company with the.
Oh my God! No, you didn't say that. Yes, sir.
with the live action Spidey segments where he doesn't talk.
Yeah,
but look, here you go, Jill. Maximum respect to Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yep. That's right.
They say Morgan Freeman was in junior high school in those days. Because he never was a child.
But yeah, man, that was the whole, like, my, you know, basically I get, you know, bribery into helping my mom was like, it was like, you get your comic book at the end, help me with the groceries, you know, it's a win-win situation basically. But Spidey, man, was the gateway for me.
Me too, man. Charlie, what do you think? There just seems to be, like, Jim and I talk about this a lot. Like, there's a good crew of artists in the comic book industry who all came from hip hop, and there's a whole mess of hip hop heads who all grew up with comic books. Do you have any theory on what the relationship between the two is?
Yeah. Well, one thing I was going to ask Jim, man, being the St. Louis dude, right?
Yep.
A lot of my comic book consumption came from being trapped in a house because the weather was so fucking cold.
Right.
Couldn't go outside. So if you lived in a building, you had a neat spot. All your homies that lived in the building with you would come through, and all of like minds would kick it in that spot or whatever, or over somebody's house or whatever. Ma, can I go over Tom's house? Yeah, I'm out. And everybody would be in Tom's room playing Monopoly or trading comics. It was that kind of shit, right?
Right.
But as far as hip hop is concerned, I think the love, I think the crew thing came. The from comic books. The extravagant, what they say, KRS-One would say, colorful names. You know what I'm saying? Came from the comic books, man. The need to have an alias. Came from the comic book. You know what I'm saying? The adventures, the urban adventures, the sense of good versus evil, all of that shit, man. You know what I mean? It's like it's like what you know, and the fact that most of the participants in the early stages of hip hop were inner city, you know what I'm saying, black, Puerto Rican, white kids who were poor as fuck, right? Like not like no much like poor, right? And had no way to, you know what I'm saying, express themselves. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? But to create something that everybody could participate in without the financial thing being something that could stop them from participating in it, if you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's so many factors, man. It's so many factors. But I think the appeal of the aliases and the super names and a mild mannered by day, but at night I'll fucking kick your ass kind of thing. It's just, you know, I don't know, man. Something appealing to that was really dope for hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, man. You mentioned the weather because like St. Louis, when I was a kid, every winter we had snow and ice and you'd be stuck inside and all that. But you guys, man, Chicago had notoriously just brutal winters. So I couldn't imagine like being a kid there because I mean you're definitely stuck inside for like weeks at a time, right? I mean,
hey, how old were you in 1979?
I was 4.
Oh, okay, so you probably don't remember, but I was 9. There was a blizzard in Chicago, the blizzard of '79. Y'all probably could Google that shit. And you know, I never did that. I'm gonna Google this after this, right? But the blizzard of '79 was, and it snowed like 5 feet of snow, like straight up.
Holy
like imagine,
shit.
Can you imagine that? The city of Chicago was blanketed with 5 feet of snow. It shut the city down.
God.
If you didn't have groceries, people were dying. All kind of shit. Like it was crazy. It was fucking cold and snow was everywhere. And you know, so the wind chill factor, like people don't know what the hell a wind chill factor is if they don't live in a cold state like Illinois or Missouri. You know what I'm saying? But the wind chill factor coming off Lake Michigan that increased what was already cold as Arctic winters, it increased it by, okay, for instance, one year, every year in Chicago, they play Bozo the Clown. Everybody know about Bozo the Clown, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Bozo the Clown on his show, the kids would wake up in the morning, getting dressed and getting ready, and have Bozo the Clown playing because in the wintertime, he would show this segment where they would play "Here Comes the Sun." They play that song, and they show a list going up the TV screen of all of the schools in the area that are closed due to cold weather, due to pipes busting and shit like that, blah blah. So you would look, you'd be attentive when that part comes. Oh, mama, my school is closed today. Oh, that kind of shit, right? It would get that cold. Now, one time, it got so cold, I was waiting on my shit to be closed. I knew, because I had to. My school was a mile from my house. I lived in South Commons at this time, and my school was closer to Lawless Garden where I used to stay. That was like a mile from my house. A mile straight down Cottage Grove. I mean, straight down King Drive. I'm sorry. So, motherfucker, this shit is crazy. It was 30 degrees below zero.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh
hey, I'm not finished. Y'all saying wow right now. I'm not done. I'm not done. Not done. Okay. It was 30 degrees below zero, but the wind chill factor, the wind blowing off the lake, made it 60 below.
Jesus Christ.
Arctic winter. I was sure my school was going to be closed that day. Psych. It wasn't.
Oh,
So
what?
me and my little sister had to walk to the bus stop to get the bus. To get there, there was a homeless man on the bus stop, and he didn't have nearly enough clothes on to keep him warm. He smiled at my sister, and his face cracked, and the blood started coming out of his face, but it slowed down
Oh my
because it was
God.
that cold. Like,
What?
that's how cold Chicago is. I tell that story all the time.
God.
So that's some real ass shit.
Fuck. I believe that shit.
That's insane, man. Yeah, I remember as a kid, I don't know if it was 79, if St. Louis, we got the same blizzard, but I do remember a year where the snow banks were like taller than me and my older sister.
Yeah, man.
Nuts, you know, and it was something that Midwest people just had to deal with, man. It's
Yep.
Yeah.
it's
I-
funny
it was just
too,
a
man.
part of
'Cause,
life.
like, I was in Chicago like 2 or 3 years ago for C2E2, the big Chicago Comic-Con, and
Yeah.
it's always in, you know, usually February, so it's still pretty cold. And I hadn't been in a Midwest winter for years. Like, I lived in Arizona for 6 years, then I lived in LA for 16 years. So your body gets used to, you know, the warm, obviously.
Yep.
I was in Chicago, dude, in February for a week, and I was the biggest pussy in the world. I was like, it's fucking cold as shit here. Like, how do people live in this? I was like wearing like 7 layers of clothes, going outside and shit. It just,
Yeah, man.
when you haven't been in it in a while, it's like shocking how cold it can actually be.
It really
You know.
is. It really is. And I give, I thank God that I was able to move when I was a kid and get acclimated to this weather, because I always go, when I go back to Chicago and I talk to my family, I'll be like, I love y'all and shit, but fuck this weather. And that's the real of it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why, Charlie, why you ain't came over to visit us? I'm like, because I love y'all, but fuck this weather.
I grew up outside of DC, so we had the snow, we had the cold, not on the level you guys did, but I do remember in the late 70s having a massive snowstorm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It might have been the
Amazing,
same
man.
little cold front that just made its way across America. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so Charlie, tell me how this project called the Dino 5 came about. Well, actually, let me tell you. So, going way back to 3 Feet High and Rising. Well, let me go back further. Stetsasonic talking all that jazz.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's still one of my all-time favorite hip-hop songs and maybe my favorite beat of all time. But that's when I discovered Prince Paul. And then 3 Feet High and Rising came out. And when that came out, I put that in my car. It didn't come out for 2 months. It just, that tape deck kept playing side A, side B, side A, side. My friends were going nuts, begging me to take it out. I wouldn't do it. So I was just convinced anything Prince Paul does, I'm in. Like, and everything he did from then on out, I was right. And
Innovative.
so when I had kids, I don't remember how I discovered it, but I remember I started reading this article, and it was about a Prince Paul project, but for kids. And I was like, oh shit, what is this? So I went and got it, and I was like, this is classic Prince Paul, but it's Prince Paul, it's you, it's Ladybug, it's Punchline, and Rozelle. Is that correct? That's the Dino 5?
No, it's actually Wordsworth, not Punch. But
it's
you
Wordsworth.
You was in the right field. Yeah, it's Words,
right.
yeah.
Okay. And I was in love with it. I was like, but let me put it on for my kids. It became the family record. Everywhere we drove, we put in the Dino 5. They would recite it, and it was like I got to introduce my kids to hip hop through that. So it's a very special project to me.
Nice.
So tell me how that all came about. I'm dying to know all this.
Okay, so if that was a very special project to you, imagine being somebody like me. I'm on tour of a group called Jurassic 5, which, if you've listened to any of our projects, you know Prince Paul has inspired the shit out of us.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We were big, major native tongue preferably De La Soul bands.
Right.
Simple as that, and still are to this day. And it's cool to be comrades with those dudes. And this is my brothers, man, my big brothers.
Yeah, I got to meet Plug One a few weeks ago. I did a podcast with him, and we've been keeping in touch. But yeah, go ahead.
Be cool as fuck. But anyway, so imagine being me. I'm on a tour bus, on the back of the tour bus. Just as the first time Jurassic 5 kind of like was gonna call it quits, right? Around that time, right? Just before it, we tour in America. I'm back in the back of the bus, just like chilling. Just got into a city about to do a show, and I get a phone call. Now I know for a fact I've never met this brother before. I've been to several of his shows, starting with Stetsasonic, but I've never met him. I get a call. I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? Yo, is this Charlie Tony? I'm like, yeah, who this? This is Prince Paul. I fucking lost my shit.
Yeah, as you should.
Like, I'm a kid. I was like, oh my God. I was like, dude, before you say anything else, please excuse me for 2 seconds. Okay. Prince Paul is calling my cell phone. Like, crazy shit. Okay, now, what's happening, man? Good to meet you, man, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, he laughed a little bit. And he was like, yeah, man, I was calling, man. I got your number from Cut Chemist. From, he got my number. Somebody, one of these DJs he got my number from. I don't think it was Cut. Oh, I know who it was. It was Dan the Automator.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so he got my number. He was like, I got your number from Dan, man. He was like, man, I'm working with this dude named Andy Horowitz. He does these children's albums. They're called Baby Loves. He was like, sort of like Baby Loves Salsa, Baby Loves Jazz, Baby Loves. I was like, okay. He said, so they put together Baby Loves Hip Hop, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Okay, cool. He was like, so they got me to be the producer, man, and they told me I could get whoever I want to work on it, man. And I was like, thinking of your voice, man. So I was like, fuck, hell yeah, I'm gonna ask Charlie Tuna. So I'm seeking you out, man. You think you'll be down for some? And before you finish the shit, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, what you want me to do? You tell me. He was like, man, we thinking about getting Jean Grey. It was Jean Grey at first. We thinking about getting Jean Grey.
I know Jean. I worked with Jean. We did a comic. I did an X-Men story with Jean.
Yes, sir. Jean Greasy, man. That's my fan. I love her, man. She's amazing.
I love Jean too. She's great.
But I think she had something she couldn't do. She couldn't do it because it was something she had. She had told him initially she could, but then she didn't realize that she was, attached to something she couldn't do it. So, Ladybug got down, but he was kind of throwing names at me. I was like, man, you ain't got to tell me nothing, man. It's an honor to work with you, whatever it is. Just call me, let me know. I was like, here's my manager's number, blah blah blah. Bam, cool. So, I don't know. A week or two later, I started hearing more talk about it, like from our manager, and or like seeing emails, and I'm like, damn, they serious, huh? He's like, yeah, man. If you down, man, blah blah. They want to fly you out. They want you to be out for it was 11 days. 11 days worth of this and the third. They could record, man. It's a children's album, so it should be pretty easy to do. Blah blah. I was like, shit, whatever, man. I'm just like, word, and I wasn't even thinking about even money. I was just thinking about chilling with Prince Paul.
Right.
Like, and they pay you X amount. But I was like, oh, so I get to fly to New York, stay for 11 days, chill, and do some shit with Prince Paul. Yes, let's go. So they set it up. I get there. It's Mecca. It's a word. And I've chilled with words before, and I'm just like bugging on Mecca. I'm like, yo, because who wasn't? If you was my age and you wasn't in love with Mecca Ladybug, something wrong with you. Hanging
Right.
Look, you could be a gay man and that chick, you still was like, child, that girl fine. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that.
Definitely.
But she's sweet. She's such a, man, I love that lady, man. Like, beyond all that other stuff, she is a gorgeous human being. Like, her person, she's somebody, she's literally somebody's mom, but like, she feels like, she got a mama soul, man. And I just love
Right. I know what you mean.
It's just really dope. So, and she's talented as fuck. I was like tripping on, I loved her parts. in the Diggable thing, but I never really checked her out outside of herself, so to speak, outside of the realm that I knew her from.
Right.
So to work with her and to see how fast she worked, how efficient she was, how she could sing, how she could, you know, change her voices and just do little different things. I was like, yo, damn, she's good, man. And she was really like, when we was in the mode, she was so, she showed me a professionalism that I hadn't seen from a lot of rappers, especially from where I'm sitting, of her caliber, being a fan before this rap shit, or whatever, before being like recognized as a rapper. I was a fan looking at Diggable Planets, like I loved them. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right? So watching her like work, I was like, oh, this girl is like, she was teaching me something without knowing she was teaching me shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was really cool. It was really, really cool. But yeah, man, so he called us, he had us come out. We was in Chung King Studios, which was existed in this building where will.i.am, who I've been knowing like since I was a kid, you know, from kids coming to California for the first time. Yo, y'all still there?
Yeah.
Sorry, man. One of the dudes from Ozomatli just called me, and I'm like, no, you can't talk right now. But
That's awesome.
but yeah, you know, so I was like, oh yeah, we was at Chung King. will.i.am was working upstairs on Michael Jackson's album, so him and Michael Jackson was upstairs.
Oh my god!
And I was just bugging on that every day, like, yeah, we come to the studio, there's a chance we might run into Mike Jackson. Will came down to talk to us and this and the third, but I never got to see Mike. But we, like I said, we had 11 days and we finished it in 4 days because we was working so fast and having so much fun.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can feel it in the album.
Yeah, that shit was fun, man.
Dude, I gotta ask you, was it improv? There's a bit where you're talking to Words and he's the Brontosaurus and he's talking about he's a vegetarian and you're the T-Rex saying, what's that? And, and he's like, I eat broccoli. You're like, broccoli?
Yeah.
and you're talking about the movie. That shit used to crack us up. Was that improv?
Yeah, pure improvisation. We were like, because we did that a few times. We were just, man, they keep calling, man. No. Sorry, y'all, man. They keep calling my phone, man. It keeps.
If you need to take
it was all improv. No, it's all good. That was all improv, though. Yeah, man. It was fun. Just like I said, we did it a few times and then just kept the best ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so good, man. That record is so special, man.
Thank you, man.
And just to work with Prince Paul, man, he is one of the best, the greatest of all time. You know?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and it was cool too because he was like, okay, we were writing the script as we were going. That's what was really cool about it too. Like we would finish a song, like every song that you hear in a row is how we wrote them in that consecutive order. And we would get to a point, and Paul would be like, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow with this. And so him and the brother Andy Horowitz would talk, and then they holler at us, what if the group did this? Like, yeah, that's dope, blah, blah, blah. Then we'd go home for the night and come back, and they'd have a whole script written, ready for us to do what we're going to do. Okay, so this next song is going to be about this, like we're going to use this beat. Well, so it was cool, man. We was knocking out 2 or 3 songs in a day, man, and just kind of finished it. It was dope.
Wow.
Was that record a success for you all?
It was a success for me, like in the sense of how Bob Marley is like, what is wealth? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It was that kind of success because I run into fans who would be like at our shows or at my show solo still to this day and be like, yo, let me tell you something. I hate that fucking Dino 5 album. I'm like, why? Because my kids cannot stop listening to it. I'm like, success. So yeah,
my
you know what I'm
kids
saying?
couldn't stop either, but I was loving it just as much as they were.
Right. No,
I love turning parents onto it. I can't remember who I was talking to. It was just last week. I was talking to another artist who has kids who likes hip hop. Oh, it was Mike Del Mundo, and he's a huge hip hop fan. He's a Marvel artist. And I was like, all right, I'm about to change your life. And I told him about the Dino 5, and he just emailed me this week. He's like, we cannot stop listening to this.
Oh, man,
That's
tell
awesome.
him thank you, man. Please.
It's so good. It's so good. So,
Charlie, there's another collaborative project you were part of, the NASA project.
Yeah.
You did that track with David Byrne,
Mm-hmm.
and who is Z-Trip on that track as well? I'm trying to remember.
It's me, and Gift of Gab from Black Alicious.
Yes.
And David Byrne.
Were
I
you?
think that's Sam. That's Sam on the scratch, if I'm not mistaken. No.
Okay.
That's the DJ from Brazil. I forgot his name. Aristotle. I forgot his name. The DJ from Brazil. That's the other part of that.
Did you actually record with David Byrne, or was that like a separate situation?
Well, fellas, I'm gonna tell y'all this story, man, and I'm really not proud of this story, man, because I was kind of like salty at the situation. It put a bad taste in my mouth of a person who I'm a super fan of. I have been a Talking Heads fan since the first time I ever heard of them, right?
Yeah,
and
me too.
When I heard that we were doing this tune with David Byrne, I lost my shit. So I was on the road with Jurassic, and me and Gab were on the phone back and forth figuring out what we were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And once I got home, like I wrote my first verse, that first little part you hear. And then I got home and I got in the studio with Sam and Gab, and we wrote the rest of the song, the verses part, like all of our verses, right? I'm trying to think if the chorus was already on there or not. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But so we finished the song, and then I go back out on the road with Jurassic, and I get a call. I'm in a laundromat washing my clothes on tour, and I get a call, and this Sam from NASA, Sam Spiegel, Spike Jones' little brother, saying that David Byrne has an issue with the publishing of the song. You know, he's like, we really want this song on the album, but Dave wants to take all of the publishing. And we was like, what the fuck is he talking about? Hell no. No.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, he really wants to get on the phone and talk to you guys about it. I was like, hell yeah, get his ass on the phone. So we got him on the phone. And he's like, I need to take all of this publishing in order to be on this song. I've had problems in the past before with publishing and this and the third, and I don't, I'm taking precautions on not to get jerked. I was like, hey, let me tell you something, bro. You know more than me and this guy combined around this planet. We are honored to work with you, but I refuse, just like how you try to refuse, to be jerked by somebody of your caliber. I refuse to be jerked by anybody. I'm on this song just as much as you, maybe if not more. I got more parts on this song than you do. So for you to tell me right now, just because basically what I'm assuming is that because you're David Byrne, you get to take all the publishing, kiss my ass. I said, take me off the song. I'm not fucking with you like that. Matter of fact, I don't really need it like this. It's cool. I'm cool. I'm already on another song on this album with George Clinton.
Right.
I ain't thinking about shit. All good. I'm not tripping.
Right.
And, it became an issue, supposedly, for a second with Sam. I told him, I'm like, Sam, it's cool, man. Thanks for putting me on. And I have no issue with you. If you got some problems with them, that's on them. But you can just take me off the song if you want to keep it. I'm not going to agree to that. Eventually, they worked it out, and it worked out in all our favor, where it was all fair. We all got publishing. The song came out. But for us to have to fight for that with somebody like him tripped me out because it made me dig into the past. And you guys heard of a group called called Tom Tom Club, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You know the song Genius of Love, right?
Yeah. That's Tina, the bass player from Talking Heads, she's the singer on that track, and the drummer from Talking Heads produced that track, I believe.
Yeah, I heard they left.
Tom Tom Club was like an offshoot of Talking Heads in a way.
Yeah.
But
I heard they left. I heard they left the band for a second. They left the band because they had super disputes with your boy Dave Byrne about publishing.
Oh shit.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, history.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a part of history. That's pretty cool. That's how I accepted it after that, but because it worked itself out. Other than that, I was just mad about this.
It's so interesting. It's weird that I would never associate David Byrne with being like
Cutthroat.
Yeah, like kind of dickish about his business, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different, man. And then once again, I ain't trying to slander the guy or nothing like that. That always put a sour taste in my mouth about somebody who I respected so much.
Right.
I really love his work. You know what I mean? I really love his work.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's a fucking genius. I mean,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Weird though. Okay. Well, I'm glad that the track came out because I love that record and I love that song, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I love the concept. That's why I was hurting. I was like, fuck, I hope this gets resolved, man, because this song is really, the concept of this song is really cool.
Yeah.
And people can draw their own conclusions out of this shit. Like nothing, like it's all cool. It's like a thinking man song. You know what I mean? If you're feeling what I'm saying. And I was really hoping that it came out. And it did. So that was cool.
That's dope.
It's awesome.
And you are killing them drawings, man. Y'all, dude, I'm over here half bullshit.
That's awesome. Is that Charlie Tuna? Is that Charlie Shark?
That's my little. When I used to like do throw ups, I could do these fast with cans. But when I used to do throw ups, dudes would do letters. You know,
right.
I do this fish real quick. Damn, tag, but damn, I'm out. You know,
that's awesome.
That's dope. So Charlie, then just following your career here, then you go into doing solo stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
And how long you been doing solo stuff for at this point?
Well, during the Jurassic stuff, I started to see a demand for. I don't want to call it the demand because I don't want to sound like no arrogant asshole, but I was just saying like people would want me to get on their songs.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, like I love to collaborate, so let's go. You know what I mean? And I started to see that it became kind of lucrative to do. Plus, it gave me a lot of different cool ass pockets of respect in places that maybe people didn't know me, right? But not only just know me, but people would then go looking for the things that I belong to, which was like my groups. So I noticed that all of my outside endeavors only brought eyes back to the source.
Right.
Okay.
In all of my, you know, all of these things that I did, you know, maybe from my other group members, it didn't look like that to them. They probably didn't feel like that. We argued about shit, being mad, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at it from hindsight and look at it from an overview, that's exactly what was happening. And still to this day, people stumble on me. And then they go Googling and bam, Jurassic 5, Ozomatli, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So it was a cool thing. I always thought to myself, like, that's cool that, you know, me being out there collaborating on my own as well as with the group only brings eyes back to the group. So that was initially my whole little mission from day one. So I would say doing side projects kind of constituted the beginnings of my solo shit. And that was like, you know, day one within Jurassic, because I was always doing songs with people. That was my nature from being in the Unity Committee and being a member of the Good Life and hanging out with different MCs. You know, your mission was to, man, we should do a song together one day. All right, cool. I still do that. You know what I'm saying? Still to this day. But people, like I said, people would call and asked to do songs, and I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And some of them would come out all right. A lot of them would come out really dope. You know, some of them would turn out to be classics in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And that was always just the norm for me. But when I was doing Jurassic 5 and Jurassic was signed to Interscope and Ozomatli's label had folded and they were pushed by Universal, Interscope picked up some of the acts that were on Ozomatli's label. Ozomatli was one of the acts that Interscope picked up. Jamie Iovine basically was like, okay, who's this Charlie Tuna dude? He's in both of these groups. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so they also noticed that the reason why I was legally being able to be sorry, y'all.
That's all right.
Hold tight. 1 second. Let me just.
All right, you do your thing. You do your thing.
I'm about to. This is my mama, man. She keep calling me.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Real quick.
Jim, how's the T-Rex coming?
Oh, it's good, man. I'm just getting some detail going on at the top up here.
Jim, did you use any photo ref for the dinosaur?
I went downstairs to
Mama, huh? Nasty. Hey, I'm in the middle of an interview. I'll call you right back. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just said, God damn, you call me back.
What? Something crazy?
No.
Okay. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
All right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Jim, you were saying.
Okay. Sorry, son.
No, you're good. Jim, you did use some ref for that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
It was just from like a kid's
It's a beautiful drawing.
dinosaur book. Thank you.
Yeah, you killed that shit. That shit looks dope.
Thank you. Charlie, can you finish your story? I wanted to hear the
where do we I forgot. I'm sorry, my mom told me off.
Jimmy Iovine was the last thing I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
He just basically was asking, who am I because of my affiliation with both of these groups that he had signed to his label. Because he wasn't a part of signing Jurassic 5. Tom Wally was the guy who basically signed us to the label before he left the label. And he was there to acquire a couple of groups, the best-selling groups that was happening on Elmo Sound. So he had both of us on one label ask who I was. Now, the only reason that I was able to do both things was because of an amazing lawyer named Lisa Sukransky. And she basically was able to hook it up within in my contract with Ozomatli and made it so that whatever label Ozomatli was involved with, that they couldn't bother me as far as my initial duties with my original group, which was Jurassic 5. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
And no matter what, I had the freedom to be able to go back and forth and do what I had to do. Now, Universal was like, okay, cool, you can do that, only if we have the first right or refusal to put out a solo album for this guy. So like if you want to do a solo album ever, then you got to give us the chance to do it first.
Right.
And I was like, I wasn't even thinking about no solo album. I was just like, I'm gonna continue being in my group, do some Ozomatli stuff, do some solo, collaborations here and there, and that's that. I wasn't even thinking about being some solo artist shit. You know what I'm saying? But when they said that, I was like, oh, word? Okay, well, I'll take that. In exchange to be able to do all of this stuff, yeah, let's do it. I never thought it would come in handy, but it did. And, it was a time where I was just like, okay, well, let me see. Let me see if they'll start releasing some funds and let me record it. As soon as I asked, they did. And I was like, oh, wow. That's cool. So I started going in, you know what I mean? And making a wish list and, thinking about what I wanted it to be about. I always, just coming up with the concept and, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was a fun, that was one of the funnest things I've ever done within this music industry, was first solo album, which is about to be re-released September 4th, because we finally got the rights back.
Oh,
putting
nice.
out some cool little remixes and different little treats on it for people to have. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
That's awesome.
Hey man, what year did like Jurassic 5 officially sort of disband? And do you consider it like you guys sort of broke up, or do you get back together occasionally and stay in touch with the guys?
In 2007 was when we officially said, all right. And at the time, we felt like that's it. It's done. That's how we felt.
Right.
I was kind of just leaving it open. I was like, man, we got too much on the table. Ain't no telling what's going to happen. So what we really needed a break, because we was like going hard without seeing our families. We spent more time with each other than we did with our prospective families. And all of us, except for two of us, were parents. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's just a lot of different little turmoil and a lot of different little things that happened to us and didn't happen to us that basically was putting stress and strain on our relationships. And, I think my antics were partly to blame. You know what I mean? So we just called it quits. Like 2007. And the solo shit really kind of was like a godsend at that point more than ever. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, word? Okay, well, I know what I'm going to do. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do.
Do you still see the guys, talk to the guys?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, not as much as I used to, for sure. It's a few of them I haven't talked to in a while. Me and Cut Kim is working on a project too, so y'all should be.
Oh, great!
Nice.
So that me and him gonna talk after this. As a matter of fact, I called him yesterday. So
nice. And Charlie, didn't you do a solo record that was like a superhero record?
Yes, sir. Now it's called Adventures of a Reluctant Superhero, and I did it with this brother named Crafty Cuts, who is a famous break DJ from the UK.
Right.
And shit was fun as hell, because I always felt like Jurassic 5's career, along with myself. If you talk about solo career, I got to tack that on to what I'm about to say. I always felt like Jurassic 5's career started for real in the UK. Like we would do stuff in the States. People kind of knew us on the underground, but we would go to the UK and people would meet us at airports with flowers and shit like that. So it was like,
wow.
It was a totally different situation, man. And the song Concrete Schoolyard had a video, and that song blew the hell up out there. Like how you would want a song to blow up, and how you would want a song to video play and all that stuff.
Right.
In those days, we almost won a Juno for it. We got invited to the award shows and all of that stuff, man. It was crazy over there for us. Way more so than it was ever in the States. Ever. So I always wanted to do something that they could take ownership over. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I said, let me do a collaboration with one of their favorite DJs of some sort. Me and Crafty Cuts had already done a song called Hands High. And the success of that made us go, man, fuck that. Let's do a whole project. So we kind of stumbled on this whole superhero project because I said in that song Hands High, I say, I'm back with the miraculous Jurassic in classic fashion, but when solo, I'm a verbal assassin, right?
Yes.
The dude who's drawing the cover thought I said, when solo, I'm a purple assassin. So he drew the cover on some superhero shit, and he presented it to us and was like, what do you think about this? I looked at it. Everybody was like, hey, I don't know, man. Me, I was like, I love it. Let's go.
That's awesome.
And it helped me. It honestly helped me, because from there I was like, okay, if it's going to be like that, this whole album is going to be Hancock. You guys ever seen that movie with Will Smith?
Yeah, totally.
Like this album is gonna be about the correlation between hip hop and comic books, and as told by two reluctant superheroes who have the skill, but don't necessarily want to help. But I ain't really interested.
Right,
If you put in these situations where we have to help, we will. But I ain't out there trying to say no, man. Come on. You know what I mean? And so that was the theme of the album. And I said to myself, now that I got the theme, Crafty got the hella beats coming at me everywhere. I'm gonna try to craft this as a loose story. The dude who was drawing the art, his name is Jake Detonator. He is responsible for drawing the baby Star Wars character.
Oh,
so he got famous for that.
Oh,
and,
shit.
You know, he stumbled on this, who I think, honestly, his Yoda is who I think they based Baby Yoda from Mandalorians on. That's why.
Oh.
But anyway, he is a cool motherfucker, weed head like me, hella artist, and was like, every time he come up, hang out with me and Crafty, it was always like just an adventure. This dude talks 5 times as fast as I do. Like, just run. With an English accent, too. So it's just like, he was going. But he said creative as fuck all the time, always coming up with ideas. Me and him just, every time we get together, we smoke and shoot the shit. And we just started coming up with ideas on how to present each song, what to do art-wise. If this song was a single, this could be this. We was doing all that kind of stuff. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I want to work with as many UK artists as possible. So we got a chance to work with Omar LaFolk. We got a chance to work with Sky from More Chiba. We got a chance to work with this rapper Harry Shotta. We got a chance to work with the Next Man. We got a chance to work with I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. My man Mr. Spice from the group The Brotherhood. We got a chance to work all these different UK entities. I was trying to get Rodney P on there, but it was just last minute. And then I got like Gifted Gab, Lyric Born, Supernat, people like that. So yeah, man, the project came out great. I love it. We got a lot of spins. I got a lot of play on a radio, on BBC radio, in the UK because of it. We got to perform on the BBC spots twice because of it. And yeah, man, it was a cool ass adventure, man. I spent so much time in the UK. I kind of started getting the English humor and shit. Been watching more Guy Ritchie movies as of late.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love the Guy Ritchie movies.
Man, it's so interesting because like when you were talking about Jurassic 5 blowing up or maybe getting more love over there, it seems to be the case where it's like, do you remember Ugly Duckling, that hip hop crew?
Yeah, them is my brothers. Of course, okay. Them is my brothers.
I was talking to those guys years ago at a show, and I mean they were saying the exact same thing. They were like, dude, we make a huge chunk of our money just touring Europe. Like they were way bigger over there than they were in the States. Is that just because does America just view hip hop as being like the shiny shirt gangster approach, and anything else other than that is just considered like too weird, too eclectic?
No, we are the innovators of everything when it comes to, especially shit, y'all. I'm sorry, this is my wife this time. Hold on 1 second.
All right, go ahead.
Hold that thought, fellas.
Okay,
I'm on an interview, baby. What's up? Yeah, I'm on an interview. What's going on? You good? Huh?
Are you on the phone?
Yeah, I'm on the interview. I hit you right back.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'm running into Walmart. I'll be home in a second.
Okay, cool. Bye. All right. So, oh shit, I did not mean to call nobody. Damn. I mean that he gonna try to call me back too. Okay. The question again. I'm sorry. I apologize. That always throws me off.
We were talking about Europe and England just kind of embracing the more underground hip hop more than the States does. It seems like.
Okay. So I was saying that America, a lot of the inner city, the poor, the impoverished people have been the creators of the biggest trends on the planet Earth, period. Right? As simple as that. Just so happens that they Black, Spanish, and anybody that's mad poor living in these neighborhoods that have nothing else to do but to express their what's inside their soul some artistic way. Right? Now, that being said, America is also the most capitalistic of all these capitalistic countries, and this, that, and the third. And I just really feel like we are not bothered by what we create after we create it and it becomes famous. We start looking for the next thing.
Right.
Now, the people over in Europe or anybody who adapts and falls in love with anything that we've created, right? They treat it more like a book than a trend. They want to tell their friend about this book. They want to tell their next friend about this book. If you want to borrow this, man, you got to read this shit. That shit is amazing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When that author come around, you're going to, after you read that book and you felt that it's amazing, you're going to try to find that author and get him to sign it and pick his brain about this. What I'm saying, this is why these people, that author's from America. Ain't no telling when he's going to come to my city. Oh, he's in my city. I'm going. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
they appreciate the fact that we take the trip from across the sea to come see them. They appreciate that shit, and the shows be packed. The shows, you know what I'm saying, are always full of energy and fun because they feel that that's what it's supposed to be. So they treat it as such. We are trend designers by nature, but we are spoiled brats by culture. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I think that's what that shit is. It's just as simple as that. And then some of the shit that we do, they can't relate to. So, like, watch this magic, y'all. I'm about to break some shit down to y'all. I'm about to trip out. I love doing this. Okay. Some of the shit they can't relate to. Around the time gangster rap popped and we was going to the good life trying to get shit to go on, some of the biggest supporters of hip hop music was the people of the UK and Europe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's gangs, it's violence, it's drugs everywhere in any populated major civilized city. It's ghettos, all that shit. We all know that, right?
Right.
But one major difference in that situation in the UK that's different from America is that the police do not carry guns.
Right.
Right? At the event of a 9/11, they have shit where they had these special situations where if guns are needed, then there's a truck that will show up with ammo. It's going down. War. You know what I mean? But as a rule, the cops over there are in shape and you'll get your ass kicked. They are trained. You ain't finna be fucking around. You understand what I'm saying? Like, So anyway, I'm saying all this to say, gangster rap hit, all the gun talk, all that kind of violence, that level of gang banging, this and the third, they couldn't relate to. That whole country, that whole island, and any of the other countries that are around it that follow the trends of that island, let go of hip hop and allow the creation of other shit, like drum and bass, like garage, garage, the one drops, the two step, the dubstep, all of these electronic sounds were created because of the absence of the hip hop that they love.
Oh shit!
That's amazing.
That's fucking incredible.
See, I told you I was gonna blow your mind. And watch this. And the reason why Jurassic 5 has so much success is because we brought back the hip hop that they love.
Oh, you were like the Renaissance.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
That's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah, so, I don't even know what to say after that.
Look, boom, drop the mic. Mic's dropped.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie, go ahead, Jim. You're going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, the current climate we're living in America right now, it explains so much about everything, you know. And you mentioning like the cops in other countries being trained to do their job without relying on the convenience of a gun.
Hurting. Yeah, man. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's the major problem here is we obviously, it's like we're learning like, holy shit, most of the cops out here in America are not trained to handle like anything, you know?
Nope.
So,
Can't fist fight, none of that shit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you get a couple who have been military dudes, but you get a lot of them who were bullies at school.
Right. Right.
Man. Yeah, dude, holy shit. Okay. That's today's lesson.
We gotta learn on.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Charlie, talk to me about. So now I see just through your website, you're bringing art back. I don't know if you're bringing it back. Have you always been trying to sell your art throughout your whole time being an MC?
Just as a solo MC, because after that point, I started. You know, like I said, this is what I was trying to allude to. When Jurassic got started to heat up, and we used to stay on the road all the time and be gone, I didn't get a chance to paint like I wanted to. So I used to take opportunities to do pieces when people wanted stuff. You'd be like, "Yo, I heard you could do a piece." I'll be, yeah. Weren't you want to do one? I'm like, "Fuck yeah, that's cool." Or I would link the graffiti artist just to stretch my legs or whatever when we had off days and stuff like that. But I still couldn't paint like I wanted to. I didn't figure out how to do it. So when I got back home off of tours, I would sit down and do a canvas. Eventually, I accumulated a big ass collection of shit, and I said, "You know what would be dope is if I do an art show." I always wanted to do an art show, so I eventually pulled off my first art show. And I got the fever. I was like, oh, now it's time in my older days for people to understand that I also do. And the first thing that I actually did was this art shit, was this, visual art shit.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you do an art show in LA?
Well, yeah, I did a couple. My very first art show was at Mr. Music Head.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And Sam is one of the most amazing human beings, man, the owner of the gallery, man. And he believed in what I was doing. He let me, just stretch my legs. It was an amazing event. And we did one more in his new place, which is across the street from where he used to be. It's a lot bigger. And the turnout was a lot bigger. And it was just fun. We did a performance. It was dope. I was like, I had a real ball. I told you that dude was going to call back. I told you he was gonna come back. But yeah, man, it was really, really, really amazing on both accounts, man.
That's fantastic.
My third art show, I did one at the Mayfair Hotel downtown LA, and that was called Concrete Jungle. And it was based off like the Lion King, so to speak, but like more of the aspect of how these particular animals feed and how they survive, as opposed to it being like some old candy down Disney version of the shit. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I did these 6 by 8 feet panels with spray cans of these animals. I did a male lion, a female lion. Then a male lion who had a half smile on his face, like happy because the female lion that I painted, she had her whole bottom of her jaw and her nose and everything. Basically, her whole mouth was full of blood dripping. It's a cool ass painting, but all you see is her face and the blood dripping off her mouth. And I did a grand elephant, a humongous elephant. I did a giraffe. One, two, three, and I did a big ass baboon that's like 8 feet. It was cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And are the shows pretty successful for you?
Yeah, man, they successful, but I feel like I've put more time in music than I have in, the business aspect of art. So I'm still learning a lot, man.
Right.
How to sell big pieces and, how to get commissions and stuff. I've done a few commissions as of late. So my efforts are starting to pick up.
It's the game.
If there's anybody that's going to see this podcast, You know, these are like little cartoons I'm drawing. But if you check out my shit, I do commissions and stuff too. So it's pretty cool.
Your web. Give your web address out.
Oh, my web address is chalituna.com. CHALI 2, the number 2, NA.com. Yeah.
And Charlie, what is puffin paint?
Oh, okay. So puffin paint is an idea that I had from just watching Bob Ross. Man. I love Bob Ross to the max. And I was like, it'd be dope. And I went to a sip and paint with my wife a couple times. And I was like, it'd be dope to do this now that the cannabis culture is more accepted, to do this from a perspective of cannabis. So I was like, okay, it'd be dope to sit down and Bob Ross it with a whole bunch of people or with people watching. You know, it'd be centered around, you know what I'm saying, you know, cannabis elevation. You get your little elevation on, you sit down, we sit down with some paints, we pick a topic and we go in. I'm gonna do my first real one. I want to say August the 29th is when we were trying to do it. And basically, you know, we're gonna have charities connected to it. We're gonna have it like opened up in an open space outside, so people can actually do it on some social distancing thing. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it as safe and as clean as possible for everybody if they want to do it in such a fashion. It was definitely going to be a lot more grandiose, but COVID hit. So
right.
Fuck that disease.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be sort of like a performance thing.
Yeah, well, we'll have a band playing. I'll perform a little bit,
nice.
And also just sit with everybody and kind of instruct. Like, say if we're gonna paint a flower today. Well, we're gonna paint an oil scene. You know what I'm saying? I was really gonna do it just as an ode to Bob Ross and use one of his paintings to help, because you know the way he explains his paintings are so easy for you to do it once you do it. So I was just take a cue from his book and just do it in that fashion. You know what I mean? So people can have something that they don't feel like it's a hard reach to succeed in drawing. People look at shit and be like, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you've ever painted along with Bob Ross and looked at what you did at the end, you'll trip yourself out. Like, oh my God, I did that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
I love Bob Ross, man. Like
I love that, man.
We were at we like 3 or 4 years ago, I was at a house party when I was still living in LA, and they had, like, as a joke, Bob Ross on the TV with the volume turned down and music playing. But a friend of mine, we stopped and just watched it, and I was like, dude, look, like, his technique is so solid.
Yeah.
It's so on point, man, what he is able to do. Like, he has his shit locked down, technique, color, form, everything. And he's just crushing it, man. We were laughing our asses off because Bob Ross is so dope.
Yeah. He's dope, man. And
not even in a joking way. Like, he's the shit.
No, have you guys ever painted with him? Have you ever tried to paint with him?
I haven't. I need to do that.
Man, when you do it, you'll get mad. I did it, and I videotaped myself doing it just to see how this would cut. Hey, man. First of all, the paintings came out incredible. Second,
that's awesome.
I'm cussing every 5 minutes. Like, oh, that's fucked up, Bob. Come on, man. It's that easy. Fuck that. Like, like mad. Like, happy that I'm doing it, but mad. Like, it's that easy. Like, come on, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's amazing. It's like, wait, I waited this long to try this? What the fuck?
Oh, exactly, man. I was so, man, it's fun, though. It's really fun, but it's a trip. I should just put a clip of that video out somewhere, like on my Instagram, so people can laugh.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be hilarious.
That's just funny, man.
I was going to say, that could be its own separate podcast, just Charlie Tuna painting alongside to Bob Ross.
Oh, my God, that'd be awesome.
That's its own show.
That is its own show. That's awesome. All right.
See, but we would need permission from his family probably to get him on. But anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, Jim, are you done with that T-Rex over there?
I think so. I think it's yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
You
I
guys,
just finished
man,
up
that shit
mine.
crazy. All right, are we at the end of the show, fellas?
Yeah, we're getting there. I mean, if you got
Okay,
more,
because
do you think?
I was like, let me just hurry up and quickly do a little couple of lines here and there and be like, bam, I'm finished too, fellas.
Get it done. But yeah, so Jim, talk so I can look at yours again.
Yeah, this is the T-Rex with a bunch of strange skull shapes, some skull and bone stuff. I'll probably go in a little later and maybe add a little bit more ink splatter and stuff. But
What'd you do the skulls with? What is that gray?
oh man, it's the Blackwing 16.2 pencil.
I got my own little Blackwing right here.
There you go.
Those are dope to draw.
I love the Blackwing pencil, man. It's is this the one you have, Sean? The black one?
No, I have the gray one. It's the hardest of them. I have the white one, which is the medium hardness, and the gray one, which is the hardest. I had a black one, which is the softest, but for what I was doing, it was just too soft.
Yeah. Like if you want just a solid graphite line, man, that's bold, these things are awesome.
Yeah, I love sketching with them. They're just they're real buttery and creamy. They're great.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Buttery and creamy.
Buttery graphite, Sean, should be the name of our new punk band.
All right, that sounds good. Buttery
That's
graphite.
That's dope.
So Jim, and then what'd you do the color with on that piece?
That's just gouache.
Okay.
Colored pencil for the red, and then gouache for the yellow. So like
you
that.
put the gouache on top of the pencil, so you used it real thin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did this whole painting, and all the opaques are with all those same gouaches you're just holding up. Acrylic gouache.
Oh, that was the thing I wanted to ask Charlie before we go. Charlie, your full color painted stuff, what are you primarily working with on that stuff?
Oil. I'm doing oil stuff. Yeah, because I've always wanted, man. I took a trip to Amsterdam, 17, 18 years ago for the first time. Shit, it's probably longer than that. Actually, it was longer than that. Fuck, I'm tripping. It was 23 years ago for the first time. And when I went to the Van Gogh Museum, I looked at the paintings and I asked the dude, okay, how old is that for real? And he was like, that one right there is 160. I was like, okay, when I get home, I need to learn how to oil paint because I want my shit to last. Because graffiti artists, we expect our shit to last for 5 seconds.
Right.
Come out there with that camera or else you ain't gonna see it no more. You spent all that time. I was like, I want some shit to last. So I said, first thing I would do is try to learn how to oil paint. And I just started putting myself in the situation. You know, I didn't even start YouTube and shit. I just was asking dudes that I knew who could do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't start YouTubing until this year. Like, okay, let me look and see how they do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, man, I just would ask dudes, like, what's your technique on? I got a friend named Chris, man. This dude is just a beast, man. He paints like he's making a peanut butter jelly sandwich, man. And when you see it, you like, his shit look real as fuck. It's like his realistic shit, but you got to step back. But once you step back, you're like, oh, this dude is ill. Like, how you do that, man? With a big ass knife. He worked with a big knife. He'd be like, yeah, and that, you know, stuff like that, man. It's very interesting, man, to me. So lately,
awesome.
Like if it ain't the spray can, I've just been trying to learn new techniques with the spray can and get better at that because now we have so much technology that making these tips and the pressure from these cans and the smell.
It's crazy, right?
It's so much different. Yeah.
Amazing.
I haven't fucked with any of it. I want to get back to it. I want to experiment with all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm loving doing that, but I'm loving learning oil techniques too, man. That shit is like really like fulfilling a cool little part of my soul that I've just been like really like wondering what the hell, man, and why can't I? Now I'm like, okay, I can do this. That's all good.
I'm dying to fuck with oils, but right now it's just gouache. Like gouache is kind of like it's like a cousin of oils in the way it acts, and I'm really enjoying that. Yeah, I'm liking the gouache a lot.
Yeah,
oil is like is to me is such a, it's like the grown-ups paint. It's like the serious medium.
Yeah.
If you're working with
Well,
oil.
I mean, damn, ain't we grown, dog?
If you're working with oil, like you're not fucking around. You're fully going for it. I respect that. You know.
Yeah, I love
Thank you, man.
seeing Charlie's using a micron right now. That's comic book tool 101.
Exactly. And that's all I'm doing right now, just comic drawing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
That's shit. That's awesome.
that's awesome. Yeah, Jim, that came out so dope.
Sean, where are you at? Are you?
I'm done. I'm done with it. I just gotta I'll take the tape off and scan it, then I'll tape it back down and put like a gloss medium on top. But
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's done. I'll hold it up so you can see it better.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it focused?
oh, that shit looks so dope, man.
Is it focused
You
in?
killed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How satisfying at the end is it to take off that tape?
Oh, dude, I filmed it earlier. I was taking the tape off another painting and I filmed it. Oh, you get that nice crisp border. Shit looks presentable.
Yeah, there's something so satisfying about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It's awesome. Charlie, how are you coming along there?
Man, I'm done. I'm just bullshit at this point.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Put
All
some
right,
little bubbles here and there.
I'm gonna close it down here in a second. Jim, you want to shout out anything you need to promote, social media, anything like that?
Oh yeah, Jim Mahfood on Instagram and daily updates. You can buy merch, comics, original art, everything you need.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Charlie, I want to take a minute here to just thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this. This was I've been excited about this since Brown first mentioned it to me. I was like, that's not going to happen. He was like, yeah, you have to do it. I was like, oh. But yeah, this is a real treat.
Man, for sure.
Thank you. And
that
look,
shit looks dope. Both of y'all, man. Look at that. That's crazy. Crazy. I like how you made. I like how you made the T-Rex. He still got that. I'll eat the shit out of you, but Bunny is in my arm. You know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That shit looks dope.
Thank you.
That shit is way dope.
It's a perfect balance of cartoony, but also still slightly dangerous, Sean.
Exactly. And then yours is just like, man, that's fucking hard.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are fun to draw, man. I need to draw more dinosaurs, you know?
Let's see Charlie's.
This me right here.
All right, talk.
Channel.
Yeah, there. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Talk, Charlie, so the camera focuses on you.
Yo. Hey, big face tuna. Yeah, man. This is my throw up from back in the day, man. When I used to like run around, you know what I'm saying? Dudes be like, hey, quickly. I'm like,
Awesome. Love it. So Charlie, thank you again. And if you ever want to do this again, man, I'm doing this constantly. It's going on Far Side's network this week.
Yeah, man, let's do it again. I'm about to do 6 foot by 8 foot pig.
Holy shit.
All right, on wood, or you can do that on wood?
On plywood, yeah, with a big police hat on. So come check it out, man, and we'll do it like that.
All right, I would love that. Oh, that'd be awesome. Fuck yeah. All right, I'll be in touch.
Man.
So I'm going to shut down the podcast, but we'll all still be on here so we can say goodbye to ourselves. So
okay, cool.